Gentlemen, start your engines. Gentlemen, start your engines.
Today, the road to the Winston Cup Championship travels across the road course at Watkins Glen. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Subway welcomes you to NASCAR Winston Cup Racing at the road course at Watkins Glen. Something wacky always happens in a road course race. Something wacky will happen today. And here to call it for you, three guys that will watch this race very closely, then practice everything they learned on the way to the airport. Alan, Wally, and Benny.
Benny's driving. We should be okay, Bill. Hey, let's talk pit strategy for a minute, BP. When you make your pit stops has become huge in these road course races.
I mean, you would think the fuel mileage wouldn't be important on a road course, but you're exactly right. This is where all that pit strategy, track position started years ago. When you get to your window, you can make it the rest of the way on fuel, stop, and then hope the caution flag comes out. Everyone else has to stop behind you. You're in front. Then all you got to do is stay in front the rest of the day.
There are 5 drivers in the field you'd consider road course ringers, guys who are not regulars on the Winston Cup circuit and whose backgrounds are in road racing. Can one of those ringers come up and beat the regulars today?
Well, I think so, because in the past, when those guys come in for the one-offs, the teams one-offs as well. So the pits, like Benny was saying, the pit stops are very, very important. But this time you got Scott Pruitt, P.J. Jones, some of these guys with teams that run every weekend, so they can get them in and out of the pits, hopefully close to where they come in, and that's real important. So yeah, I think they've got a shot.
This is the 20th NASCAR Winston Cup race here at Watkins Glen. Hall of Famer Buck Baker won the first one in 1957. The 90 laps to determine today's winner begins next. And now the Walmart starting grid for today's Watkins Glen race. Alongside Ricky Rudd on the front row, Mikey Waltrip, his best ever road course time trial effort.
On the inside of row 2 is Tony Stewart. On the outside, Phil Elliott going for 3 wins in a row.
Ryan Newman's been one of the hottest drivers on the circuit of late. 4 straight top 5 finishes. Kevin Harvick, he'll have to drop to the back. They've changed engines during the weekend.
Robbie Gordon, the guy with a real chance to win today, and Matt Kenseth, very good in practice yesterday.
Kurt Busch placed 4th in his first Winston Cup road course race. That was out at Sears Point in California, and Rusty Wallace trying to regain the Road King crown from Jeff Gordon.
On the inside of row 6 is Bobby Hamilton. This is his best start ever at Watkins Glen. And Jimmy Johnson, second in the points, will go to the rear of the field.
Todd Bodine in row number 7 with P.J. Jones in A.J. Foyt's number 14 car this week, his 5th Watkins Glen start.
Mark Martin, 3 wins here at Watkins Glen, and Jeff Green, Rebestos rookie.
Dale Jarrett, couple of trips off into the sand traps that Dave Burns showed you on Discover Card Countdown to the Green. He'll hope to keep it on the fairways this year.
On the inside of row 10 is Scott Pruitt. Let's try to talk. Scott Pruitt, Benny Parsons, you got me?
I got you, Benny. Go ahead.
Okay, you're like the gunslinger coming into town to try to win this race. Can you do it?
Well, a little bit of luck isn't exactly where we had planned on starting the target machine, but you know how it is. A little bit of luck, right strategy. These guys are a good group of guys. We've had a very fast car here all weekend, all except for qualifying, so who knows? Stay tuned. Keep an eye on me.
Well, we're going to. What happened in qualifying?
Oh, we just got greedy. We knew that we couldn't get the job done if we were pushing, so I said, let's loosen this thing up, try to really yank one off here, see if we can put it on the front row, and just stepped over, got real loose, and just lost a lot of time. Disappointing, but we do got a fast machine here today.
Good luck to you, Scott.
Scott Pruitt driving the 41 target machine for Chip Ganassi that Jimmy Spencer normally wheels. That was a topic of some discussion in qualifying. Spencer got into a number 42 car, was not fast enough to make the field on time, didn't have any owner points for that machine. Jimmy's watching the race at home today. Got 4 drivers going to drop to the rear of the field because of engine changes during the weekend, and it's a big story where the championship picture is concerned because the top 2 in points will go to the back. Sterling Marlin and Jimmy Johnson, along with Kevin Harvick and road racer Joe Vardy. There are those who didn't qualify, and like I said, Jimmy Spencer, kind of the big headline of that group.
And Austin Cameron out of NASCAR Winston West came out here trying to qualify, could not do it.
All right, before they start here at Watkins Glen, let's check some final stories on pit road. Marty?
Well, Alan, Ryan Newman's week started good. He qualified 5th, but he's an avid fisherman, so after qualifying, went out fishing on Friday, caught 0 fish. The team did fine. After happy hour on Saturday, went out fishing, caught 0 fish. He was getting frustrated, so he went out while he was waiting for a table for dinner Saturday night and caught 1 fish. He said, hey, my luck is turning around. Who knows? The rookie may land a road course win today. Dave Burns.
Marty, last week at Indianapolis, Matt Kenseth had a great finish of 3rd. It moved him up to 9th in the points, 1 spot. But after what he characterized as a very mediocre test session here at the Glen, how do you capitalize on that? Well, for Matt, it's keep all 4 tires on the pavement all day long. He starts on the outside of row 4. Matt?
Dave, at season's end, Mark Martin may look back to Watkins Glen as the place where he won or lost a championship if he can capitalize today like he did back at Sears Point. Sterling Marlin had his season's worst 43rd place finish. Mark came back with a 7th. He's won here 3 times. I talked to the Roush guys. They say he wasn't the fastest Roush Ford in happy hour, but he was the most consistent. And consistency, Bill Weber, is what wins championships.
Matt, I want to talk about how long it's been since Jeff has been to victory lane. Not Jeff Gordon, Jeff Burton. 25 races since he won in Phoenix. It has been a struggle at times this season, but I talked to Burton on Friday. He's very confident with the way the team has been running, just disappointed with the way they've been finishing. Here at Watkins Glen, 2 years ago, 3rd. Last year, 2nd. Today, we'll see. Alan?
Okay, Bill, thanks. And already the radio chatter between drivers and their crews and their spotters starts, even on the pace laps. We just intercepted this from Jeff Gordon's team.
Be extremely careful. You were talking to me about that. Be careful with those guys. You know, they're bad to cut down on you even if you're under somebody there, okay? I'm just more worried about somebody getting underneath me. Ron, you just have to do the best that you can there with that, buddy. I'll be cautious of it and then do the best you can there.
That's talking about the spotter, Ron Thiel. Tell him just do the best you can. Because this is a very difficult. These guys use a couple of spotters because over in the S's, where you come up over the hill, it's totally blind. You really have to have someone there to warn you what's on the other side of that hill. Well, obviously, you have to have someone over on the backstretch or the back part of the racetrack.
And really, these guys aren't here to clear you. On a road course, you got to pretty much know that you're clear or hope that you're clear. But the spotters can't see well enough to clear you going in the corner. And even when they do come into view, it's so fast, it doesn't do any good.
Check the numbers on today's race. 90 laps to make up the distance. That equates to 220.5 miles.
$3.5 million pit window. We see 31 to 34. So that's right. So some cars, that's all they can run. 30, 31 laps, 31, 34 laps on fuel. But I think some cars can go farther than that. So somewhere around 55 laps, they're going to start making their pit stop, planning on being their last stop of the day.
Field getting set to go. This is the approach to the green flag now. They're on the 3rd of the 3 straightaways on the Watkins Glen course. They consider this the super speedway of road course racing. It is fast.
We'll see speeds going down this straightaway up to 160 miles per hour. I call this the backstretch. If I confuse you today, in my terminology, I call this the backstretch, and we'll see speeds around 160 miles per hour.
What do you call the one in the inner loop? The middle stretch?
I call that the front stretch.
What's this one here?
The pit straight.
Okay.
You know,
I'm going to be real confused.
Okay, we'll work with you, BK.
All right, work with me.
We'll
work with me, guys.
Ricky Rudd on the front row. Remember, he won the other road course event of the season. That was back in late June at Sears Point out in California. Michael Waltrip is alongside Tony Stewart and Bill Elliott in row number 2, and the championship leaders, Sterling Marlin and Jimmy Johnson, all the way at the back of the pack.
This is going to be a big accordion getting down into turn 1 and on to the backstretch. It's real important to get through these next 3 or 4 turns clean.
NASCAR on NBC coming to you from Watkins Glen, New York, and the green flag is out. That's Robbie Gordon making the inside move.
And Robbie Gordon on the inside of Tony Stewart goes to the 4th position.
And Michael Waltrip with a quick look on Rudd for the lead.
That was a good move by Robbie. Yeah, break what, 2 or 3 cars there?
To the 77 car of Blaney, and was that the 26 of Todd Bodine making contact in the S's?
Here's Robbie Gordon on Bill Elliott for 3rd. and quickly through. This is the inner loop.
Oh,
that camera won't make the day.
No, he won't.
Watch Robbie here. He may set him up for this left-hander, but he also, yep. He's got him.
Side of Michael Waltrip. And using all the pavement, and then some.
Robbie Gordon told us in our Discover Card Countdown to Green that he felt like this year's car was better than last year's car.
7th to 2nd in 1 lap. That's pretty impressive.
This next guy may be a little bit harder to get around.
Well, we got through lap 1. Nobody wound up in the gravel traps. Looking farther back. This is Jeff Gordon in 20th place, working on Mike Skinner. Gordon, winner of 4 of the last 5 races here at Watkins Glen.
Jeremy Mayfield, the red Dodge with a green bumper, trying to get on the inside of someone as Jeff Gordon does get by Mike Skinner.
Now working on Dale Jarrett. You saw Scott Pruitt get through Dave Blaney just ahead there.
DJ dives to the inside of Blaney. Has position, takes a spot away. Oh, Jeff's going to stick that nose in there, trying to get on the position to come through 11.
Give Gordon 18th, kicking Blaney back to 19th. And up front, still Robbie Gordon trying to pursue Ricky Rudd for the lead. Michael Waltrip, Bill Elliott, Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman, and Matt Kenseth as they've shaken out through the top 7.
See Skinner and Blaney trying to come through the corner side by side. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car.
He's back in 21st, Benny. You're going to see that cloud of dust every lap all day. Right where they kind of clip the curbs going into that inner loop.
Hey Dave, did Blaney have any damage when he made contact over in the S's?
I don't know about that, Benny, but before things got started here, he was stopped on pit road getting ready for the pace lap, and there was a pool of oil underneath the car. Team checked it out and found out that it was just a little burnt from the oil reservoir that sometimes happen if you don't prime it just right. Crew Chief Ryan Pemberton said that it was something that wasn't going to cause him any trouble, but that damage just might.
All right, you saw it. Robbie Gordon to the lead in the singular car by Ricky Rudd.
Took him 4 laps to go from 7th to the front.
And we did see the damage on the right front of Dave Blaney's car where he made contact.
So Robbie Gordon on the march early here at Watkins Glen. He's out in front of Ricky Rudd, Michael Waltrip, Bill Elliott, and Tony Stewart. NASCAR on NBC from Watkins Glen, New York, where Robbie Gordon in Richard Childress's 31 car continues to lead. Here's our Circuit City track fact. You know, Watkins Glen is a name known not just here in the States, but throughout the world, because for many years it hosted the United States Grand Prix, the Formula One World Championship, largely European-based, but you talk to people from England or France or Germany, they know Watkins Glen. 3rd place.
Tony Stewart, the 20 car, trying to take it away, and does take it away from Michael Waltrip.
He had gotten around Bill Elliott during the commercial break for 4th spot and has quickly disposed of Mikey for 3rd. You know, the most impressive thing about this race so far has been the start of Robbie Gordon in those first 3 laps.
Yeah, he jumped right out there on the start. Watch here, green flag drops, he pulls down to the inside. Goes in deep. Outbreaks 3 or 4 cars right there. And he's not, and he's where you need to be. He's on the inside going into that corner.
All railroad.
And that was a first gear start. You hear him? First, second, third. And just blast up beside Tony Stewart.
He was unready. Didn't pass anybody before he crossed the start-finish line. That would have gotten his wrist slapped and a penalty.
Yeah, he did that a couple of years ago and was black flag on a restart. Dave, how about the 31? Why are they staying in the pits?
BP, him getting out and leading is good news. Yesterday in happy hour, they had a carburetor stumbling, according to Robbie. They fixed that problem, and it sounds like his horsepower, it looks like his horsepower is good to go.
Of course, Robbie Gordon still driving with those injured feet. That fractured left heel he suffered in a motocross accident at Pocono a couple of weeks ago. If you were with us for Discover Card Countdown to Green, you heard him say that feet feel pretty good. He's walking better. He's got his left foot taped up, but his right foot not, so he can properly work the gas pedal.
And he's not feeling it right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you're so busy and focused, you're not thinking about your feet.
Said they moved the brake pedal down a little bit inside the car to help him.
Yeah, give him a little bit more leverage. Probably so he can push the pedal in the middle of the foot more to where the injuries are up a little bit higher on his foot.
And Tony Stewart has closed in right behind Ricky Rudd.
Might see it here. Got to outbrake him getting into turn one. Looks like he's got it.
All right, full flaps. Brake hard. Yeah, all right. Except don't slide the tires. We see guys go down and slide that right front tire, and that puts a flat spot on that tire, start a vibration, and that's not going to last long.
And I think we'll see more of that when these guys burn the fuel off and there's a little bit less rubber on the tires. We'll start seeing some smoke off the right front tire getting into turn one. Also, some cars wheel hopping.
So Tony Stewart to second. Here comes Ryan Newman on Bill Elliott. Had to be for 5th place. Ooh, look out.
Yeah, you better present your nose to the door when you're getting into that corner right there, because that's really, really tough to see. And if you don't see anybody out your side windows, you just assume they're not there.
Present your nose to the door.
You got to get the nose to the door.
Now, Kenseth is going to try to go on the inside.
Oh, not enough.
And Kenseth, around he goes. He's going to get stuck. He's going to get stuck.
But he did have the nose to the door. And
Caution is out.
there's the yellow.
Oh, man. Dave, they did it. They're stuck in the gravel.
Well, Matt Kenseth spinning out from 7th place. That's NFL Hall of Famer Jim Kelly, by the way, who waved the green flag to start the race. And that's a very upset Matt Kenseth right about now.
Let's see if we can see what happened here, BP.
Well, Kenseth gets a great run. He sees the guy start braking. He said, I'm going to outbrake them. And he goes in there and gets too much rear brake going.
Yep.
And around he goes.
He may even got a little bit of a wheel hop there as well. And what happens with the wheel hop is if you get too much rear brake, the rear will jump and the rear tires actually come off the ground.
Rusty Wallace's view.
And you know the only way to get out of a wheel hop? You have to step on the gas.
Really?
So when you're going down in there and the rear of the car is coming off the ground, the only way to stop that wheel hop is get back in the throttle.
So we're under the first caution in Siruis satellite radio at the Glen. The camera that we said wouldn't make the race, it didn't make the race. Matt Kenseth started 8th, but his car is now 2 laps down. Look at him waving inside the car.
He's about to go another lap down if these guys don't get it started and go.
All right, so that's going to put him 1 lap down.
Let's go on by and get caught up, and then we'll pit you guys. Let's go on by and get caught up.
Almost the second, and that car's going to be clanking and banging with all the gravel coming out of the bottom of it all the way around.
I hope they got the hood pin in.
Yeah, I do too. I think he might have got 1 or 2 in, but I don't think they got all of them in.
NASCAR Busch Series update. The race for their championship continues next Saturday at the Michigan International Speedway. Tight fight there for the top spot. I know somebody that's going to be driving in that race next weekend as well. He's seated next to me in the booth, Mr. Dallenbach. And the Craftsman Truck Series update. Mike Bliss, winner of last night's race at the Nashville Super Speedway. Pretty good show to watch, that one was. And their championship standings. It is Terry Cook pursuing Mike Bliss for the title, but look at that, 5 within 100 points of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series point lead.
Pretty tight.
Yeah.
Pretty tight.
All right, field coming by the opening of pit road. Who will stop? Mostly guys toward the back of the field are coming in. Got, including your point leader, Sterling Marlin, coming to the attention of his crew. Marty?
Well, Alan, I asked Lee McCall, the crew chief, this morning, what's your track position strategy? He said, I'm going to do whatever the leaders don't do. So the leaders didn't pit, so Sterling's going to pit. They're going to do the opposite of what everybody does all day long, and the car is pretty good. Started at the back, as we talked about, made his way up to 32nd. This is the same car Sterling Marlin used to finish second with at Sears Point in 2000, Dave.
Former winner Steve Park not happy with his car, comes in for a 4-tire change and adjustments. Leads pit road.
And slots in behind Elliott Sadler. So mostly guys in the back third of the field that came into pit. I think Dale Earnhardt Jr. was probably the farthest up of them. And Matt Kenseth is getting ready to come in. Bill?
Yeah, he's finally here. It's 4 tires. May have a problem with his gearbox. It may have jammed after he slid through the gravel pit, but he's got 4 tires. Going to go out and try and catch back up, then come in. They're going to snap in the hood pins and then send him on his way. But very disappointing start to this race. They had high hopes for Matt here today. Had a really good run here in a Busch race one time, but then ended up in a wreck in the closing laps, and while he was leading, actually. So disappointment again at the Glen.
Yeah, he may have got some rocks jammed up in the linkage for the transmission, so possibility. What do you think, Benny?
Hey, guys, at Sears Point, remember when Sterling Marlin, some rocks got under the belts and threw the belts off, cooked the engine? See all the belts here? And Matt Kenseth got in the gravel pit, threw some gravel on the racetrack, and if some of that gravel on the racetrack comes up, could knock the belts off, it could ruin your day. Let me show you what some of the teams are doing. We'll go underneath there. Roush Racing, Team Caliper 360. Some guys are taking screen wire and putting underneath the bottom of the engine so those stones will not go up and dislodge those belts off the cars. Smart thinking.
It's smart thinking, but I think probably as much as he had that buried in there, I don't know if that screen helped or not. But the transmission, that may be a problem, because like I said, you've got all those levers and arms and stuff from the transmission, and you get a stone wedged in there between one of those arms and the box itself, and it's hard to work out.
You know, if you've ever had a chance to walk around the Winston Cup garage on a race morning, and few people relatively get that chance, but there are all these checklists hanging from the sides of the race cars, all things to be checked and done on the machine before it goes to race. And those checklists evolve as things happen in a race.
Trial and error.
And that's where that screen comes from. Something came up off the racetrack, knocked those belts off. The next time, you figure out a way to keep that from happening.
Right. That's a good idea.
Coming to the green here, Robbie Gordon, Tony Stewart, Ricky Rudd, Michael Waltrip, and Bill Elliott are the top 5. And you've got Ryan Newman, Kurt Busch, Rusty Wallace, P.J. Jones, and Scott Pruitt is up to 10th. Jeff Gordon has also picked up 9 spots in this opening run. He's up to 14th.
And this is a good opportunity to make a pass. If you can catch the guy in front of you sleeping a little bit on the restart and get a little bit better restart, you can jump beside him and outbrake him going into turn 1. So see a lot of guys pulling out right here, I think.
Rusty Wallace popping out of line. Here comes Tony Stewart, going to look for the lead on Robbie Gordon.
He's got the spot, he's got the position.
With smoke.
And here again, you want to be on the inside. Oh, wow.
Wow. Robbie just got him blocked and said, no, not today.
And I'm sure Tony's thrilled with that.
Oh, yeah. But Tony, patience, focus.
But there again, like I said, that's your best opportunity right here on these restarts. See all these guys dodging in the back, looking for that same opportunity.
Here's Kurt Busch looking on Ricky Rudd.
Did I miss something? What happened to Ricky Rudd? Wasn't he running third?
I think we all missed something.
Yeah. Matt, what happened?
Alan, the concern for Ricky Rudd from his team down here in the pit is a possible tire going down. They're not sure if he just picked up some trash on the tires or if he has one going down. But right now, they've got the tires up on the wall. They are waiting for him if he has to pit.
I think while we were watching Tony Stewart try Robbie Gordon, Ricky Rudd got the shuffle. So we'll keep an eye on Rudd and see if it was a momentary thing or if he does have a problem that will bring him to pit road.
And Scott Pruitt, that 0 bullseye car on the inside of P.J. Jones, that goes into the 9th spot. Oh, it's going to be fun. And Tony Stewart, Robbie Gordon, Scott Pruitt, all these road racers get up there. Dave, how about Pruitt? Those guys happy down there?
Yeah, they are, Betty. Just before that caution, Scott radioed in and said, "I'm pretty good right now. I'm just going easy on the car and easy on the brakes."
So Pruitt working on Rusty Wallace for that number 8 spot there. Speaking of, there's Scott's scoring serial.
Moved up 10 spots.
Now, speaking of radio communication, Robbie Gordon was talking to his crew about his car during the yellow flag a minute ago.
Look at all the damage right there on Robbie's car behind the right front tire.
That's when he and Tony Stewart got together down there.
Yeah, they got together hard.
All right, here's what Robbie Gordon had to say a minute ago.
Just cruising, okay? Like cruising.
Good job. Just keep cruising. We're doing good.
The car has not slidden one time. It's been good.
That Kevin Hamlin is so cool, isn't he? Just keep cruising before you see it.
He's looking at that damage on Robbie Gordon's car.
That's a lot of damage. I'm just trying to look at Tony's car to see how much he has.
How about the Road King, Jeff Gordon, Bill?
Well, so far so good for Jeff Gordon. Started 23rd and marching up through the field. Car just a little bit loose. That was also their problem in qualifying. But this team very confident. Of course, this is a track where Gordon has always run very well. So Jeff Gordon moving up through the field.
And you see the interval from Gordon up to the other Gordon that's leading the race.
And if you've got to be something here, you've got to be a little bit loose. A tight race car will not do you any good here at Watkins Glen because the corners are so fast. If you can't get the car to turn here, it's going to be a long day for you. So if you need to be anything, a little loose is good.
Well, evidently Ricky Rudd did not have a flat tire because I think he would have showed up by now. He's still out there, and I guess he got some debris on the tires that slipped down in turn 1, lost a couple of spots.
Rudd running in 5th place behind Robbie Gordon, Tony Stewart, Michael Waltrip, and Ryan Newman. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Here's our Wendy's race menu. The action moves to TNT for the balance of August. Michigan International Speedway. Big, fast 2-mile oval next Sunday. Then Saturday night, the 24th of August, it's the night race at Bristol. Need we say more?
No. Enough said.
Southern 500 in Richmond coming up as well as we continue our coverage of the race for the championship. See where your favorite driver's pitting today here at Watkins Glen by logging on to NBCSports.com. We've got a pit map of today's race up there for you. Plus, BP looks at the rejuvenated career of Bill Elliott and whether the veteran driver can make a strong run at the Winston Cup points title. NBCSports.com. Robbie Gordon's car got a little damage when he and Tony Stewart bounced off each other. Well, they bopped off each other too a little while ago. Dave, what's the crew saying?
Yeah, we'll ask Kevin Hamlin, the crew chief. Kevin, any concern with that damage on Robbie's car?
No, not really. I guess our biggest concern would be if we knocked any crush panels in and we're getting any exhaust gases or extra brake dust in there that we don't really need to get. But Singler Wilder's cars run really well all weekend, and hopefully we can just stay up front the rest of the day.
Other than that, you're just cruising, right?
According to the driver, he's cruising, yeah.
All right. That's Kevin Hamlin, guys.
10th race that Robbie Gordon has led in his Winston Cup career.
And that's right in front of the header. So right in front of the exhaust pipe there where it comes out the side.
But
here's what we're talking about. On the restart, Stewart tries to get alongside. We see smoke from the brakes. as Tony Stewart tries to get alongside Robbie Gordon, that's where they got together and made that contact that knocked in the fender that Wally was talking about.
You know, fortunately, where that wriggled up stuff is, that's well ahead of the telemetry box.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Checking back, Bill Elliott has lost another spot. Scott Pruitt has gotten by him. And we're checking for Dale Jarrett, Jimmy Johnson. Neither one of those drivers pitted under that last caution, so Johnson is running in 24th place.
Yeah, see the 41 car has caught the 97 car of Kurt Busch. Trying to take a look on the inside, and no, that is not Jimmy Spencer. Scott Pruitt is driving the 41 car this week at the road course. Chip Ganassi making the decision that he felt like that Scott Pruitt had more of a chance of winning the race, is basically what he said.
I think the phrase that was used was road course challenged.
For Jimmy Spencer.
On Jimmy's behalf, as Pruitt looks to the inside of Kurt Busch. Oh, it'd be something if those two cars got together.
But Kurt wisely backs off, lets Scott Pruitt go. Now, Kurt, you're a young guy. What's he, 24 years old? Follow this guy, because you can really learn something about road racing by following his 41 car. He's very, very good.
But Chip Ganassi's whole decision to use Scott Pruitt here at Watkins Glen, there are two sides to that issue, and you can kind of see them both. He told me when we spoke on Friday, these guys working on the 41 car deserve a chance to try and win this race. They're working very hard, and this is their best opportunity to try and do that. On the other side of the coin, they're going to go back to Michigan next week, and Jimmy Spencer's got to get in that car. No doubt not happy that he did not make this race at Watkins Glen today. He didn't have that provisional to fall back on. And they've got to get over that next week.
Well, I hope that Jimmy can get over that, because this, I think, tells everybody, the team, that they've got a good race car. It tells Jimmy maybe he's got to go out there and really get with this guys and get this 41 car running as well as the 40 car.
And specifically here at a road course.
Oh, yeah.
Pruitt challenging Ricky Rudd here for the 5th place, with Kurt Busch and Bill Elliott just behind. Nothing's changed up front. Robbie Gordon leads Tony Stewart by an even 2 seconds. Michael Waltrip runs 3rd as Subway presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Watkins Glen.
Very impressive sight here at Watkins Glen. All the fans in the infield around the track watching the 43 Winston Cup stars in the 22nd race of the season. Amazing stuff happening up front. Let's take you through the field and find out where your favorite driver's at as they head down the front stretch. Let's begin with Dave.
And leader Robbie Gordon canceled a test here at Watkins Glen due to an off-track ankle injury the Pocono weekend. But he reminded everyone when he got here that last year he passed eventual race winner Jeff Gordon on the track before his premature demise. Matt?
Dave, Tony Stewart looking for his 2nd win in last 4 road course starts. Stewart says the car started out on the tight side, but it started to come to him, and it's getting better as each lap goes by. Meanwhile, Marty.
And Matt, here begins the pit strategy. Mark Martin and Jeff Burton coming down pit road. Burton is a little bit tight to the right-handers. They're going to add a half pound to the left rear. That's opposite of what you would normally do, because again, he's tight only on the right-hander. This is a very quick stop for these guys so far. A little trouble on the left rear. 4-tire stop for Jeff Burton. And other than that one adjustment, they will make no other changes. This car led the most laps here last year and finished 2nd. They did it last year on Fuel Strategy 2, Dave.
Mark Martin is already back going down pit road after getting 4 tires and air pressure adjustment. They reduced the pressure all the way around for better grip. They say they're only mediocre. They know what they've got, but it's not as fast as they wish they had.
And here comes the race leader off the track. Robbie Gordon is going to pit at lap 25. Think the opposite of what you would on an oval track. You pit as soon as you can. You got to work from the finish of the race backwards.
Yeah, you don't go from the front to the back, you go from the back to the front.
So Robbie Gordon led from lap 4 to lap 25, and now he's in, Dave.
Here he comes, and he comes to a stop. Remember, they'll try to get 2 cans of fuel in here, so they only have to pit one more time. They'll also change 4 tires. No adjustments requested by Robbie at this time, so it's just going to be a matter of speed to get him back out on the track quicker than everybody else does to retain that lead once the pit stops cycle around. 4 tires are on. He is gone, and he stalls the car. Robbie stalls it. He's trying to refire it. He gets it refired. Matt?
Down in the 9 pit, Bill Elliott said his car was a little free from the center up off. They're going to adjust the 9 car. Mike Ford called for an air pressure adjustment. Dave.
48 car is in. Jimmy Johnson, they are already around the second side, which today is the passenger side. 4 tires on, chassis adjustment for Jimmy. Remember, his car was fastest in his day of testing earlier this year at the Glen.
Now Tony Stewart peels off the racetrack. Tony took over the lead with Robbie Gordon pitted. As Jimmy Johnson rejoins, now Stewart comes in. Behind him, Scott Pruitt, Kurt Busch, and Jeff Gordon are also coming to pit road.
And there we see the damage on Tony Stewart's car on the left side where he and Robbie Gordon made that contact. 35 miles per hour. I know. Looks like he can walk that fast. Matt.
First scheduled pit stop for Tony Stewart on lap 25. Remember, we told you his car was tight. Gerald Shires, I saw him making an air pressure adjustment in the tires. Bill?
Jeff Gordon was loose at exit. They tightened him up with wedge and air pressure, 4 tires and fuel.
Kevin Harvick is in. Dave?
Scott Pruitt is leaving pit road now. Allen at the slow 35 miles an hour. 4 tires and fuel for him. He radioed to his crew that he's just saving brakes. He's already pitted for the first time. Matt?
Kevin Harvick complaining he needed more forward bite. So his crew chief Gil Martin called for an air pressure adjustment. They packed it full of fuel, and he's away.
Tom Hubert has also been in. Elliott Sadler getting set to leave the pit lane in the Wood Brothers car, and Jimmy Johnson is coming back down pit road.
And the leader, here comes Jimmy Johnson down pit road. The leader, Michael Waltrip, is also.
Hey, buddy, start looking left here. Start looking left, right in here.
Jimmy Johnson left one of his left side tires out on pit road. Remember the rule, all the tires have to be around by the wall before the car can leave. They were not. He has to come back in for a stop and go.
And this Watkins Glen course is as much of an adjustment for the pit crews as it is for the drivers, because everything's the opposite. The fuel is on the right side of the car instead of the left. Matt?
And the biggest problem for Michael Waltrip was his driving line. He felt like he was over-driving his race car. They're not going to make any adjustments on the 15 car. Just pack it full of fuel. He also felt like, Dave, that they had the wrong gear choice for today. They needed a different one. It's just not what he needs, Dave.
Hometown boy Todd Bodine is in tight through the S's, so they're going to make an air pressure adjustment to fix that. He has filled the car full of fuel, his team has, and now he slowly leaves pit lane.
But you hear those cars slowly getting off pit road. That's because they're going to first gear on the racetrack. We got a fire in the pits. Watch the gas cannon, man. Man, scared me. Guy walking away with a gas can upside down in a fire. All right, everything looks like it's okay now. But I was talking about first gear. They're going to first gear on the racetrack so that they don't have enough first gear to leave pit road. Bill Weber?
Well, a very impressive run for young Ryan Newman, having an outstanding season. This is just 4 tires and fuel, and make sure you clean the grill, which they did. Start on the left side, swing around to the right. Ryan with 4 consecutive top 5 finishes and 9 top 5 finishes all season long, more than anybody else, on his way back out to the course.
His teammate Rusty Wallace takes over the lead now that Ryan is pitted. Boris Said is also on the pit lane. That's Boris's silver car you see, and you see Ward Burton, Bobby Hamilton also getting their service. It's really going to jumble up the running order because there are about a dozen cars that pitted under that first yellow, and they're going to start to move toward the front of the pack until they have to stop. Marty?
Well, you mentioned the stop, but Boris said he's already heading back on the racetrack. What a good run for these guys. Started 29th. They are up to 6th in his 7th Winston Cup start. They are preaching patience, patience, patience on the radio to Boris, and he's doing a good job of taking care of the car so far.
Boris, the current leader in the SCCA's Trans Am series. And now the leader, Rusty Wallace, gives up the track off turn 11, and he comes to pit road.
Like you said, the advantage those guys had to begin with, Alan, is they got to pit under yellow. These guys are all pitting under green, so it does jumble up, and those guys that pitted first have a big lead on these guys that are having to pit now.
John Andretti is in. Here comes Kyle Petty in. Matt?
And Rusty Wallace brings a 2-car down pit road. He looking for a 7th career road course victory. He felt like the biggest hindrance was actually track position. Billy Wilburn, his crew chief, his World of Outlaws car scored a 9th last night at the Knoxville Nationals, looking for another top 10 24 hours later here at the Glen. A slow stop as they finally get the left side tire to Snyder.
A very good stop for John Andretti, who was running up in the 2nd position, goes around his teammate Kyle Petty. The car is very good for John, just a little bit tight and a slight air pressure adjustment.
Yeah, Rusty's guys had a little bit of trouble on that left rear on that pit stop, and that cost him a little bit.
One thing, Rusty was too far away from pit wall. You see, he was right out next to that white line. All right, Dave, Steve Park's in.
He's in for his 2nd pit stop. Remember, he's already been in once, Benny, as the brake dust flies as these guys change tires on the right side now. Steve will get his 2nd load, but he will have to come in one more time. Crew chief Paul Andrews told me it's about the last stop, so they didn't mind pitting early. They're just setting up for that one last pit stop to make sure they have to make only minor changes.
Jeremy Mayfield is going to take over the race lead. He is one of those dozen that pitted on that first caution, so he's going to go to the lead here. And he's got another 10 laps or so that he can run before he'll have to come in. By the way, that fire on pit road, that was in Todd Bodine's pit. Everyone is okay. You saw the fire was quickly extinguished. No one was injured. Dave, you got more?
Yeah, and we just checked with the gas man, Rocky Boggs, and he is fine. Just a spark that ignited the trailing fuel when he left the 26 car.
I don't know how that doesn't happen every weekend.
Yeah. Especially here on where you use brakes so much, because those brake rotors, everything is so hot. One splash of gas, you got a fire. Marty?
Ricky Craven here, Benny, and he's been having kind of a tough day. The car extremely tight for Ricky. He's ready for this race to be over because tomorrow is his son Everett's 6th birthday party. He's all excited about the party. Not so excited about his race car so far. Very tight for Ricky Craven's tied Ford.
And you see Ken Schrader having come and gone from the M&M's team also. Brett Bodine has been in. Kenny Wallace has been in. So the running order now looks like this. Jeremy Mayfield is the leader. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is 2nd. Sterling Marlin is 3rd. Casey Atwood is 4th. And Jerry Nadeau is 5th. Then Joe Vardy, one of the road racers, is 6th. Johnny Benson is 7th. Then you get back around to some of the guys who were the previous leaders. Tony Stewart in 8th. Then you've got Joe Nemechek in 9th. And now Robbie Gordon up to 10th.
And Tony Stewart has about a 5-second advantage on Robbie Gordon. There's our leader.
Steve Park's car's gone behind the wall. I don't know what happened there. We'll get an update, find out. But the 2000 winner here at the Glen, he's got problems today.
Well, as Benny was talking about earlier, it could have been something to do with that first gear. What's going on, Dave?
The report from their pit guys is that there's a bad vibration. They think it might be the rear end gear in the 1 car.
Yeah, well, we were talking about earlier, in order to be in first gear going through turn 1, you've got that tall gear, and it doesn't get you out of the pit. So you really, when you saw Steve leave, you have to dump the clutch and really get those tires spinning. Sometimes that's hard on the drive lane.
Jeremy Mayfield is out in front. He's had only 2 top 10 finishes this season. His team with a little early strategy play to get track position at Watkins Glen. Sirius Satellite Radio at the Glen is the name of today's race. It is being led by Jeremy Mayfield, driving one of Ray Evernham's Dodges. He and 11 others pitted at lap 11 under the only caution of the event so far. That shuffled them to the front of the pack now that the other leaders just finished a set of green flag stops.
And he goes by Brett Bodine, the 11 car, put in Brett a lap down. There's Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 2nd place. Our points leader, Sterling Marlin, is running back in 3rd, and I know that Sterling would love for these 2 cars in front to make a pit stop. There he is, so he could lead a lap and get 5 bonus points.
There's Sterling in 3rd. Looking back for 4th place, it's Casey Atwood, the Sirius machine coming right at you there. 7 car, again, another one that's on that early stop strategy. Another kid with not a lot of road racing experience. But someone who's loaded with it is right there, Jerry Nadeau. He's up to 5th in the Petty 44. And again, another one that stopped at lap number 11. Now the big story on that exchange of pit stops is going on behind those four. Tony Stewart got out ahead of Robbie Gordon. Remember that Gordon led Stewart coming into the green flag stops. Coming out of the stops, Tony is out in front of Robbie by about 4 seconds. Here comes Big Orange at you. And then back behind Johnny Benson's car, the white one, is Robbie Gordon. We saw Gordon's car just stall for a second.
All it takes is a couple of seconds because that's a lot of distance on the racetrack at this kind of speed.
So, in effect, as long as the race stays under the green flag, that was a lead change. The exchange of pit stops was a lead change. Will become one here shortly.
Yeah.
What's that you said, BP? It's all about when you pit and how you pit.
It's unbelievable just how I really didn't realize that they're all going to pit on lap 25. They're all just terrified that someone's going to be able to pit and the caution come out and end up in front of them. If somebody, when they all pit, it's monkey see, monkey do. They all die for pit road.
Robbie is reeling Tony in, so when everybody else stops, we should have a pretty good fight for the lead on our hands. From Watkins Glen, you're watching NASCAR on NBC. Subway presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Watkins Glen on NBC, and as you can see, the pace car is out. Yellow flag for the second time in this race.
And here's what happened. Joe Nemechek, the 25 car. We saw Kenseth get stuck in the gravel, so Joe saw that. Okay, I'm going to drive through this thing. Whoops, I got to steer it back. All right, keep driving. I'm through the gravel. All right, I'm going to make it through the gravel. Oh, no, there's a wall. Boom.
And those are great big foam blocks in front of the guardrail there. We saw the safer barrier at Indianapolis last week. Really, Watkins Glen was the first NASCAR track to put some sort of a softer wall up with those big foam blocks.
And got some bad news developing for Sterling Marlin, I think. Car didn't sound right when he came by here on the green flag last lap, Marty.
For Sterling Marlin, it is another heartbreak, Benny, because the looks like he's down on 7 cylinders. I was just talking to Tony Glover. Sterling said it lost about 800 RPMs. They think they may have lost a valve. He's already switched batteries, so it's not an electrical problem. And this is going to be heartbreak for these guys. We talked about how this could be a big day in the points. These guys had not lost an engine internally in 2 years. It appears right now that they may have lost 2 in 2 weeks. And Sterling Marlin continuing to lose points in the Winston Cup Championship chase. This could be a huge pivotal day in the race for the championship.
And again, it looks like he's okay right now because after all, Sterling Marlin is in 4th spot and Mark Martin's way back in the back, but he's not going to stay there on 7 cylinders.
Yeah, Mark's running 18th right now. Sterling made that early pit stop at lap 11, but if he does have engine problems, road course, you said it at the top of the show, BP, a mechanical exercise.
Oh, yes.
Really going to show up here. He's not going to be able to make that thing last.
They tell me Dale Jarrett is out there with 3rd gear gone in his gearbox, the 21 car. He's behind the wall.
Leaders in. Let's make our singular call to the pits. Who we dialing up here down on pit road? How about Marty?
Well, at Sears Point, the cautions fell right for Jerry Nadeau, and they're falling right so far today. The car is extremely tight, however, but they may get a couple of breaks. He gets a water bottle inside the car. They have to hand it to him with a pole through the open window. They had to pound into the left rear tire. Bill.
Jeremy Mayfield's on his way. He's gotten 4 tires and fuel. They went up on the air pressure to try and improve the handling of the car. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was also on pit road. 4 tires and a number of changes on his car, trying to tighten him up a little bit.
Got Brett Bodine stopped, Jerry Nadeau, Casey Atwood, Johnny Benson, Bobby Labonte, Matt Kenseth, Terry Labonte, Ward Burton, Ricky Craven, Jimmy Johnson, Mike Skinner, and Kenny Wallace. Those are the guys that just came in on pit road.
And Marty talked about the caution flags dropping at the right time. They're dropping at absolutely the wrong time.
Yeah.
The best time is right after a pit stop, then have a caution flag.
So Sterling Marlin actually takes over the lead by staying out under this caution.
Subway presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing at Watkins Glen. And right now, under caution, the Winston Cup point leader, Sterling Marlin, on pit road. Finished 43rd in Sonoma, now struggling with problems today here in the second road course race of the season. Marty?
And Bill, they did stay out to lead one lap. They did get 5 bonus points. They've stolen 10 bonus points in the last 2 weeks because they did the same thing in Indianapolis. They will now raise the hood. They're going to check and just make sure that all the plug wires are indeed connected. And they think they are all connected. So it is an internal engine problem for Sterling Marlin. It'll be a long day for these guys, Bill.
Well, another disappointment for the 40 team as Sterling Marlin rolls out. Again, we're under caution. The big story at Watkins Glen, the Winston Cup point leader, struggling the rest of the afternoon.
NASCAR on NBC at Watkins Glen, New York, where Subway presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing, getting set for the restart. Remember earlier, Tony Stewart and Robbie Gordon traded a little sheet metal for the lead.
I think we'll see some blocking going on going down into turn 1.
I think it's going to be fun to watch. Stewart was trying to take the lead from Robbie Gordon at that point, and you'll see the big scar on the side of Robbie's car where they made contact.
I think Robbie will fake to the right, Tony will go for the block, then Robbie will go to the left, and it'll be side by side going down into 1. What do you think, Dave?
And Kevin Hamlin told his driver, Robbie Gordon, when you go to pass the 20 or any other car out there, please be kind to your fenders.
Too late for that.
Yeah, it's too late. He's already knocked in one fender. All right, here we go.
Coming to the start-finish line.
Car's off now, be ready.
He's laying back.
Oh, Tony's gone.
That
and
caught
Robbie
him out.
can't get going.
Now Robbie's got his hands full. Look at the stack up behind him.
Ryan Newman and Scott Pruitt side by side trying to get through the corner.
Oh, bumper cars.
No bumping.
Ricky Rudd alongside Michael Waltrip. 2 breast up through the S's at 97 and Jeff Gordon side by side. This is exciting, guys.
You're not supposed to be able to race side by side.
No, you're not.
I know. Here comes Rusty Wallace trying to get on the inside.
And there's Mark Martin.
I don't know what had if Robbie missed a gear in the restart or what, but Tony caught him sleeping or something.
I think Tony started a little bit earlier than Robbie thought he was going to start.
And Robbie was laying back. He was going to try to get a run, but it didn't work for him.
All right, Mark Martin, 3rd in points. He's running 12th. Jimmy Johnson, 2nd place man in points, is running 34th. Sterling Marlin is 38th. Let's hear from his crew chief.
Lee McCall, we got to stop meeting like this. What's the final evaluation on the engine?
We don't know. We dropped the cylinders, so unfortunately this week we've got to ride around again and get as many points as we can. We were hoping to have at least a top 15 finish today with the Coors Light Dodge, but unfortunately that's not going to happen today. So, I'm sure there'll be some more cars go off track, and like I say, we'll make up as many points as we can today and go get them next week at Michigan.
Like you said, Alan, limping around in 38th is Sterling Marlin. They've had the points lead since the 2nd week of the season. They're hoping just to leave here with something close to the top of the points.
Well, they don't have to mow the grass on the front stretch here anymore.
No, Jeff Gordon did that for them. Look at that. Mark Martin now 33 points back. Jeff Gordon just 37. Man, we have got ourselves a points battle going to Homestead.
Here's what I was talking about a second ago. You might have caught it while we were talking to Lee McCall.
And I think that grass was still on Jeff's tires when he got down to 1 because he had a hard time getting into 1 as well. See him slide out over the curb. Didn't quite get it back enough. Rusty took advantage of it. And then he went down in turn 1 and lost another position or 2.
All right, Bill. What happened to Nemechek?
Well, let's find out. Joe's back in the garage. What happened?
Just a disappointing weekend for this whole UAW Delphi Chevrolet crew. Usually run pretty good here, but we just been struggling the whole week. Had a little problem with the brakes yesterday in happy hour. Got them better today, but I wheel hopped real bad getting in the inner loop, and I flat spotted the front tires because you got to make a stop and go penalty there in the inner loop. And when I come back around, I was fixing to come in the pits, got to turn 10, and right front tire blew out and went straight across the gravel trap. It slowed me down quite a bit, so just bent the front end up, knocked the radiator out. We'll get it fixed, get back out, but just disappointing weekend.
There's your answer, Benny.
Man, I didn't realize, we just saw a wreck, but I didn't realize it all happened about a half mile before that.
Got a little off-road adventure. Nemechek is in the garage. Elliott Sadler's car has just been retired from the race. Clutch problems on the 21. And Steve Park's car is still being worked on behind the wall. Jeff Green, Kevin Harvick, Richard Childress Racing teammates. Should be about for 17th place here.
And looks like the 29 car has a problem. Something, yeah, he's down pit road. Here comes Harvick.
Tires right here, 4 tires. 4,000, 4,000.
So you think he's got a flat, Matt?
Well, Alan, he came on the radio, says he thinks he has a rear tire going down, possibly left rear. About a lap and a half ago, Bill Elliott said the same exact thing. He thought he had a tire going down. Mike Ford, his crew chief, said, keep in mind, a lot of guys have been complaining. Their tires are picking up a lot of junk. As Kevin Harvick comes to a stop, they're going to make a 4-tire change as Big Mike Sears rolls that front tire, the Jackman. No other adjustments on the 29 for Kevin Harvick. What a great drive he made from 40th all the way up into inside the top 20. Trouble has hit the 29 again. He's down and away.
And you see that guy grab that tire and roll it back toward the wall. That's what happened to the 48 car earlier. They didn't catch that tire in time. It rolled out. Jimmy Johnson left, and that's a penalty under NASCAR rules.
Yeah, all of the pit equipment has to be on the inside half of the pit box when the car leaves, or you have to come back in for a stop and go. Well, the big restart rematch with Stewart and Robbie Gordon didn't materialize.
Never happened. Comes Jeff Burton trying to make a pass on Mark Martin. PJ may sneak in there as well.
That's
14's coming with him, buddy. 14's coming with him. Clear. Clear.
I don't think Mark believed he was clear. He went in there a little bit wide.
He gave him some room just in case that PJ Jones had stuck that nose in there.
That's 11th place that Jeff Burton just took from Mark Martin. So Mark back to 12th and PJ running 13th.
And as I said earlier, it's up to the driver to make sure that he's clear or think that he's clear here. The camera's still there.
Yeah.
Our camera lives. I thought our camera had died a long time ago.
Nice job for that 14, the Conseco team. Here comes PJ working on Mark.
And by he goes. Had a great run off the carousel or turn 9 back there. I tell you, a couple of guys right now that have impressed today. Dave Blaney, the yellow 77. I mean, you wouldn't say road racer Dave Blaney in the same paragraph, in the same book. But here he is doing a great job. And Ryan Newman in that 12 car. An open wheel guy. I think he's doing a terrific job today.
He's running 3rd. Scott Pruitt running right behind him in 4th. Little radio intercept from Scott Pruitt's car a couple of minutes ago. Here's what he said.
By myself, it's a little loose. But we're running pretty good times. In traffic, it's pretty good because it's a little loose. Because you end up, picking up some push, so influence all that comes real good. Still on sequence here for one more stop. Hey, good stop, boys. That last stop was good. Excellent.
Scott Pruitt running 4th. Jimmy Spencer's here at the racetrack watching his team.
There you go, Jimmy. Attaboy. Exactly where you need to be, cheering these guys on.
There you go, Jimmy. Had a long conversation with Jimmy on Friday about Indianapolis last weekend and the situation this weekend. Jimmy watching Scott Pruitt drive that car, trying to get 3rd spot from Ryan Newman. It's going on behind the 2 dominant drivers in the race, Tony Stewart and Robbie Gordon. BP, ever played beach volleyball?
Nope.
Want to?
I've been watching the race. What have you been watching? Hey, we got ourselves a race here. Robbie Gordon has closed up right on the back bumper of Tony Stewart.
Remember, Tony got the lead on the exchange of pit stops under the green flag at lap 25 and 26. And Robbie stalled his car a little bit, leaving pit road. Now Robbie's just kind of working back to him. He was 4 seconds behind Then the caution came out, allowed him to close up.
Well, Robbie said yesterday his car was really, really good on the long runs, and that's where we'll start seeing it right now. Is if his car is good on the long runs, this is where he should be making up ground this time of the race.
And watch just how many miles per hour he'll turn, going down 171 and just slam down to 190, 82 mile per hour. Joe Farty off. Come on, Joe, get it on the racetrack.
Looks like he may have a problem there.
Yeah, he's turning it out. Joe, 52-year-old from Tampa, Florida, many years experience in road racing. He's won 5 or 6 times here at Watkins Glen in various classes of cars. Spends his time during the week now building engines for a lot of NASCAR Busch Series teams as part of the AMIC engine operation. This was his first Winston Cup start today.
And Ryan Newman is still in front of Scott Pruitt.
I think Scott is setting him up to make a out-braking pass here.
Hey, and I tell you what, that was great. They pushed Barty's car off the racetrack. We will not have to go to caution flag.
Third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Ryan Newman, Scott Pruitt, Michael Waltrip is there.
And Jeff Green is coming down pit road. I wonder if that means he thinks he can make it the rest of the way.
That'd be 40 laps.
40 laps.
I'm just asking.
I'll bet we follow up in a minute. This is at lap 50, just past halfway.
See a chassis adjustment, left side, it's a little trouble on the left front.
Stuff that thing full of gasoline.
Oh yeah, it's full, here we go. See, Jeff Green was back in the field and he comes back on the racetrack clearly in front of the leaders. Here we go, Robbie Gordon. He's trying to bluff Tony.
He's worrying him.
He's worrying him, that's exactly what he's doing.
Jeff Green stopped at lap 25. 25 laps, 26 laps he got on that tank of fuel. He's not going 40 laps to the end on that.
All right, Matt, what's up with Todd and those guys?
Well, Todd Barrier, are you on a fuel mileage run? Can you make the distance now?
Yeah, 10-4. We just kind of planned on pitting as soon as we could so we could make it to the end, gain this track position. Usually the first one that pits ends up closest to the front, so we're cutting it right on the mark right here. So it'll be within a lap of making it, but that's what we got to do to gain the track position we need.
Ron Liddell told me this morning that's the exact strategy that they used here with the Busch Series team. 2 third-place finishes was the result. He's the engine tuner. They're hoping it pays off here. Remember,
we had a blown-up engine. Kurt Busch has let one loose on the backstretch.
Caution, and what a break that is for Jeff Green.
Jeff Green, because all that distance between himself and the leader, he gets to make up on the caution flag. Todd Barrier, that was a stroke of genius.
Look at all the metal flying out of the bottom of that car. There was all kinds of pieces off the bottom of that engine flying on the racetrack.
You've experienced that before.
Yes, I have.
To the garage for Kurt Busch. That's, between what happened to him last week when they lost all those positions in points, 5th to 10th, and now being one of the first cars out of the race here, 2-week stretch turning your season inside out. Will the leaders pit under this caution? We'll find out when we come back to Watkins Glen.
Leaders are on pit road under caution. Ryan Newman at the bottom of your screen, according to the fuel mileage they got on their first stop, is 3 laps short of making it. It's 4 tires, fuel, no adjustments on a car he says very hard to steer. Dave.
Middle of your screen, Robbie Gordon. He was told to stop just a bit short because they know Ward Burton will be springing around the front in just moments. 4 tires. Chocolate Myers, the most experienced gas man in the business, will put in the second can of fuel now, hoping he can make it to the end. Matt.
Dave, a 4-tire change for Tony Stewart. Still needs forward bite. They made an air pressure adjustment. The key here is for Jeff Gooch Patterson to pack that fuel cell full of fuel. The 12 will beat him off pit road. They feel like they're 2 to 3 laps short. Marty.
And Scott Pruitt came in. He said he's just riding, saving the brakes. A little loose by himself, a little tight in traffic. They 2 or 3 laps short, but the bigger problem, they had a long pit stop.
and so did the 31 car of Robbie Gordon.
6 cars stayed out on the track and did not pit here. Rusty Wallace is going to take over the lead. A big strategy shuffle at the Glen. We have really shuffled up the running order as Subway presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing from Watkins Glen on NBC. Under caution at lap 54. Everyone except for 6 teams came down pit road. Rusty Wallace is now the leader. He did not stop, Matt. How come?
Well, it was a pre-planned strategy. Billy, Rusty told me on the grid that you guys were going to try to stay out and try to pit under green. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, we're going to probably pit here right after we take the green flag a couple laps. That way we know we're in our fuel window to make it all the way. We don't have to pit anymore the rest of the day. And I don't think there's anybody here that can run 38 laps. If there's somebody here that can run 38 laps, then it's going to cost us. But, you know, one more yellow, they all pit. We'll be right back to the front of the field where we want to be.
Now, is Rusty experiencing a power steering problem?
Yeah, right now we have no power steering. He's complained a little bit about it under caution, but I don't think it's quite as hard to drive, you know, under the green flag conditions. But we just hope everything stays put underneath the hood. You know, no belts or nothing come off. Hopefully not. And you know, we'll make our pit stop here shortly and see our way to the end of the race, I hope.
Rusty's trying to follow the strategy from behind the wheel of the car. Here was his conversation with Bill Wilbur a minute ago.
Not a single soul that can pit right now that can make it. Everybody.
Well, things at the front have been shaken up once again. Jeremy Mayfield's been on pit road, still under caution. Still waiting to see what Rusty's going to do. Fuel mileage, a big factor here. We talked about it at the beginning of the day. The fuel mileage and the mechanics of these race cars, the mechanical problems that are going to sideline some of these guys will have a big impact not only on this race, but on the points chase as well. Those are just some of the things we talked about earlier today on the Discover Card Countdown to Green.
I want you to have a present, and this present is from last year from your camera.
Oh, it was the telemetry box.
And you wait for anyone at all.
Entering the carousel. Another place you want to have your car a little bit loose.
Now back over to the left. Back to oh. Wow,
What does that mean?
That means we need reverse.
We've seen a bunch of problems on the track, most notably the ones affecting point leader Sterling Marlin, but still a lot of stories to unfold in the closing laps of this race here at Watkins Glen. Let's check further down pit road with Marty Snyder.
Well, Bill, many think that the most dominant stretch in NASCAR road racing is the run that Jeff Gordon's on right now. Well, that's not such the case. There's one guy who can actually top him here at Watkins Glen. Mark Martin's incredible run at Watkins Glen remains untouched as the most dominant period for one driver at one track. Not only did Martin win 3 straight races here at the Glen from 94 to 96, but he also won all of those races from the pole and led the most laps in all 3 events in his Jack Roush Ford. And my friends, that is what you call domination. Wally, I believe you followed Mark to the finish line a time or two, didn't you? And Jeff Gordon has the 2nd best average finish here. Mark Martin has the 1st best average finish here. But guess who has the 3rd best average finish here at Watkins Glen among active drivers? That would be Wally Dallenbach with a 10.1 finish.
See that? I saw my car twice in that footage,
yeah,
but it was just the second car.
Line, wasn't it? Yes, exactly.
Got a lot of cleanup work to do. Kurt Busch left a lot of engine pieces and oil and things scattered around this course, so we are still under the yellow flag. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Sirius Satellite Radio at the Glen is the name of today's race. It is under caution for the 3rd time after Kurt Busch experienced a problem.
It's what we call grenading a motor. Watch underneath the car, watch all the metal fly out the bottom here. Connecting rods,
good
bearings.
Gracious. Look at all those pieces flying up under that car.
What's the joke I heard somebody say yesterday? The oil pan was weak?
Yeah, the oil pan was no good.
It wasn't good enough to hold the bottom of the engine in? So they've had quite an extensive cleanup here under this yellow. During this caution, the leader did come in. Rusty Wallace came down pit road, and before he stopped, listen to this radio conversation he had about the strategy with his crew chief.
All right, Rusty, this time, bye. Well, we can't make it to the end. What are you thinking? I don't know what you're thinking. We're on lap 55. It's a 90-lap race, isn't it? Yeah, we're in good shape, boss. Trust me. Just got to come in now because they're starting to drop off at the back of the field. There's guys that are going to try to make it all the way. We got to beat them at their own gate. Backfiring on us, coming in. Dead 4. You'll be all right.
Rusty sound confused?
Yes.
I am.
Well, I mean, again, there's so many guys gambling that they can make it the rest. Jeff Green, he can make it. There he is in second spot. And Todd Barrier told it he could make it the rest of the way.
Check it out. Longest drought following a win, Rusty Wallace. Lots been made of Jeff Gordon's dry spell, but it's been a while since Rusty's gone to victory lane, too.
And we'll see Jeff Gordon in 29 races since he's won a race.
Rusty, the April race of 2001 at the California Speedway was the last time he won. Bobby Hamilton in the 55, the only guy not to have stopped in this wave of pit stops. He's out front. Then Jeff Green, we talked about him. And then Ryan Newman won the race off of pit road.
Green flag, green flag.
Robbie, I don't know if Robbie's having a trouble with shifting or what.
Look
block
at this.
There.
Look at this, 3 wide. Jeff Green gets shuffled back to about 3rd or 4th. Jeff Burns off in the grass.
Gets pushed off in turn 1.
Hope he's got that screen on you're talking about, Benny, earlier.
Those rocks can come up and knock some belts off.
Jeff Burton restarted 7th. We'll see where he comes back around. Here's Ryan Newman for the lead on Bobby Hamilton.
And I wouldn't be surprised if these caution laps, Hamilton holds on, but I wouldn't be surprised if these caution laps hasn't allowed the 12 car of Ryan Newman to make it the rest of the way.
They're still not sure, Benny. Still not sure. They wanted a little more time under caution.
And the way they're racing up front, they may get it. Hamilton, Newman, Tony Stewart, then P.J. Jones. Crew got him a couple of spots on pit road. He's in 4th, trying to hold off Ricky Rudd there.
You'll ever see P.J. Jones going by Ricky Rudd. What are those guys saying?
I'm very pleased with not only the performance of the car, but certainly PJ's performance as well, especially since he just got his seat in that car on Monday. He brought it with him to the shop. They put the seat in it. Then they went to Virginia to test on the road course, VIR. It went very well. He earned this ride by filling in AJ's second car in Indianapolis last week. If he gets a top 10 here today, they're going to try and get him an oval race later on this season. So that's a little incentive right there.
It's a lot of incentive.
Went sailing with PJ yesterday.
Yeah, he's a good sailor.
On nearby Seneca Lake.
And, let's talk about Bobby Hamilton. I mean, I understand that the 12 car and the 20 car raced each other pretty hard, but Bobby Hamilton is driving away from him. Unfortunately, Bobby Hamilton in the 55 car is going to finish about 25th or 30th because he hasn't stopped.
He has to stop.
He's got to stop.
Dave, what about Hamilton?
Well, that's right, Benny. The last time they stopped was lap 29, and they can only go about 30 laps on a tank of fuel in the 55 car. But they feel like they should have won a couple of races at Sonoma, if not for mechanical problems. So they're very confident about their road course program. They just got off sequence on pit stops and fuel mileage today.
Confidence is not going to help him right now.
No.
Gas will, but
not confident. Look at P.J. Jones in the 14. It looks like Ryan Newman right now is holding these guys up a little bit. He's up there trying to get by Tony.
Tony to block on PJ.
And Ryan Newman sliding that right front tire. Joe Nemechek told us you got to be careful. Don't do that.
P.J. Jones, son of the 1963 Indianapolis 500 winner. Parnelli Jones just recently had a child with his wife, Parnell Jagger, first son, born July 29th. He said granddad was in Charlotte this week.
Now, where are they on fuel? 14 car.
They were just in on this set of stops.
They did come in.
They picked up some spots on that set of pit stops, which...
But are they saying that they can make it? I guess they could.
Well, I think they're like everyone else. They're hoping they can make it.
Yeah.
Bill, you're the one telling us about PJ's stop, right?
Yeah, we're checking with them on that right now. Mike Hillman working it out.
Okay. Ooh, what's that? Was that a little smoke from Stewart's car?
Now, he did that last time coming into this corner, too. I saw that the last lap.
Oh, man, we're shuffling back there. Looks like we're shuffling the deck of cards to deal canasta.
That may cost him, right? Maybe not.
Ricky Rudd with the run. Got to look to the inside of PJ.
Oh, PJ drives it in there. and outbreaks the 28 car.
For a minute.
This is where you hold your breath.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't want to be there. But Ricky doesn't want to be there either.
Ooh, who's that kicking the dust up? That Stewart set a wheel off again?
Stewart has been jumping that curb, getting into those S's every lap. I don't know how he does it. Because you're booking through there pretty good.
Yeah, I'll tell you another one I want to follow up on, too. I want to get a report on Robbie Gordon, as you talked about how he's having trouble getting going on these restarts.
Yeah, he laid back on the last 2 restarts, but when they got going, they just left them.
He's on board Robbie's car.
Guys are getting nutty up in front of me.
You say things are getting nutty up in front of me?
I agree with you, Robbie.
.61 laps down. We're past the 2/3 mark here at Watkins Glen. Bobby Hamilton's the leader. Ryan Newman in the 12 is second. Tony Stewart is third. And what about Tony Stewart's team? Can they make the distance on fuel, Matt?
Well, Alan, let's talk to Greg Zipadelli. That's what cost them the win possibly at Sears Point. Zippy, you told your driver it's going to be close. Now with those caution laps, can you make it?
I believe so. I think the Home Depot Pontiac's in pretty good shape there. We've been running great all weekend. We're looking forward to a good, strong finish here at Watkins Glen. We're going to be close. We're going to be within a lap, but looks like it's in our favor.
Tony Stewart won at Sears Point last year, hoping for a win here at the Glen, Alan.
Tony, of course, much in the headlines since last weekend's race at Indianapolis. Post-race, he had an altercation with a newspaper photographer for the Indianapolis Star, Gary Mook. Tony was fined $10,000 by NASCAR, placed on probation for the rest of the season. Then, in what's really the unprecedented move, his sponsor, Home Depot, fined him $50,000 and placed him on probation with them for the rest of the year. That money, by the way, to go to the United Way of Central Indiana, the fine from Home Depot. Here comes Bobby Hamilton, the leader, in. Ryan Newman takes over the top spot as Hamilton comes to pit road. 35 miles an hour, today's pit road speed limit. It's a long way down this pit road at that rate. Dave?
And Wally mentioned that Bobby Hamilton would finish 25th, and by golly, this is the way that you do it. He had to come in. There's no way that he could make it till the end for fuel. And so Bobby now is going to get the brake dust blown out of the right front. You saw the wand go out there, and he'll head back on the track, make his laps. Maybe if there's a late caution, some more guys come in, he can pick up some more spots.
And maybe some of these guys that think they can make it will run out of fuel. Uh-oh, PJ about missed a corner there. Did something break?
Whoa, Ricky Rudd.
Oh, baby.
That's sideways there.
And he's knocked the left front fender in on P.J. Jones' car, Ricky Rudd did. So I think P.J. is going to have to pit and have that fender knocked off. Oh, man.
And Ricky's got some fender damage on his right front.
And one reason that PJ picked up those spots, Alan, they did a 2-tire stop on their last pit stop.
All right, that explains.
Ooh, that's heavy on that left front tire, BP.
Yeah, Bill, they've got some pretty serious damage on that left front there.
Smooth, baby, be smooth. You're all right. Go get them.
Easy for you to say, Mr. Spotter.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
That's Cal Lawson, by the way, spotting for the 14 team.
What's happening is when he's getting on that brake pedal, that front of that car's coming down, and that metal's just cutting into that left front tire.
That car looks good. That's good. Keep digging. I don't see anything wrong with it. Keep digging, everybody.
Gotta grab himself a TV.
Well, yeah, you know, let's. In the spotter's defense, he can only see the car at one part on the racetrack.
Then he shouldn't say anything. I mean, you know, if you're not sure, that's the thing. Obviously, PJ knows that the tire's rubbing.
Yeah.
But he wants a second opinion.
Now Ryan Newman is the race leader here at Watkins Glen. Tony Stewart is pressuring him. P.J. Jones hanging on to third, with Scott Pruitt taking fourth away from. Whoa, look at that.
There's some more metal coming out of the bottom of the race car, Benny.
Yeah, Mike Skinner is. And we will see the caution flag.
Boy, they're blowing them up big here this weekend.
Benny said, mechanical. It's going to be a big story of the day. So the caution is out, fourth one. Here in Sirius Satellite Radio at the Glen, Ryan Newman takes the yellow flag as the leader. Will any of the leaders pit? good question. We'll find out when we come back to New York. Under caution here at Watkins Glen. Fourth yellow of the race came out when Mike Skinner lost an engine down in turn 1. Let's check our Pepsi race recap. What's happened through the first 2/3 of today's race. After the old traditional opening ceremony, we went green just after 1 o'clock Eastern time, and Robbie Gordon with the bonsai move down into turn 1.
Bonsai it was. He passed 3 or 4 cars here going into turn 1. He was second on the end of the first lap.
And took the lead by the end of lap number 4. First caution of the race at lap number 9.
Matt Kenseth loses it going into turn 10, gets in the gravel trap. He's stuck, got to be pulled out.
Tony Stewart with a bid on the lead for Robbie Gordon. They got together down in turn 1. A little bit of damage to both cars, and Robbie held him off after the side-by-side racing. This was Joe Nemechek. Had a right front tire go flat, popped the foam barrier, softer wall here at the Glen. He was okay, but here's the big story of the day.
Sterling Marlin, the points leader, once again has an engine problem, is running out there on 7 cylinders.
Kurt Busch brought out a caution flag, bits and pieces of his car trailing from it as it coasted around turn 11 back toward the garage. And Mike Skinner with a similar fate. Bits and pieces coming out from under his car as he coasted to a stop down inside turn number 1. That's what's happened so far. Let's check our Napa Field summary. Robbie Gordon and Tony Stewart have done most of the leading today. Gordon has been out in front for 21 laps, Tony Stewart for 14. Several others have shuffled in and out of the lead during different pit stop schedules. Cars out of the race, Kurt Busch, Joe Vardy, both with engine problems, Elliott Sadler with a clutch failure. Those are the 3 who are in the garage area.
I think we can safely put Mike Skinner out of the race now.
Yeah, he'll join that list. And the championship standings as of now, Sterling Marlin's lead coming into the race was 93 over Jimmy Johnson and a $1.09 over Mark Martin. The gap will close considerably as Martin continues to run in 10th place and Sterling is back in 33rd. Still under caution here at Watkins Glen. At Watkins Glen, coming to the green flag as Subway presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing on NBC.
Here we go. And Robbie Gordon laid back so far, trying to get a run. Did it work? Didn't seem to. B.J. Jones on the inside of Stewart. What a move.
Second place. Here's Tony with the crossover.
What a move by Tony Stewart. Yes.
A good move by everybody.
We'll see if they all make it out the other side of the S's.
Yeah, I remember Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon trying to go through here side by side once. Didn't work. Worked that time.
Here comes Scott Pruitt in the 41. 3 wide, anybody? Stewart to block.
There's that smoke coming off that left front tire of PJ.
And Pruitt gets by PJ Jones.
Tony Stewart holds serve, though, hangs on to that second spot. Ryan Newman's loving all this, though. He's getting away in the lead.
Ryan Newman, how about that open wheel bestest rookie up there leading a road course race?
Driving a former show car, Benny.
Really?
You betcha. Matt Borland and those guys made it into a road race car. Debuted at Sonoma, brought it here, but it was a show car. Today it's just a showing off car.
Yeah.
So some of these folks have gone to a Alltel distributorship and seen this car as a show car. Here it is leading the race. How about that?
4 straight top 5 finishes coming in for Newman and that team. 5th, 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 and 4th in the last month. Robbie Gordon, I'll tell you, as dominant as he was in the early part of the race, his car just doesn't appear to be the same after that last set of pit stops.
Looks like Michael Waltrip right now is giving about all he can, all Robbie Gordon wants. What's going on with 31, Dave?
Well, Benny, there are no complaints on how the car races, so you should see him start to pick a couple of guys off. But Kevin Hamlin admitted to me that for restarts, the gearing that they have just is not what makes it good.
Well, that explains it.
Just before the restart, we intercepted this radio traffic between Robbie Gordon and Kevin Hamlin.
Ricky Rudd has a smashed in right front fender. He's real bad up the hill.
You know where to do it, man. Just keep your fenders in good shape. You'll be able to go back there to the front on them. You run good lap times compared to them guys. You'll be all right.
That 14's got a left front rub. You can do it.
You can't give them much on this restart. Been giving them a couple of snacks, a little bit there.
10-4, Richard. I'm cruising right now, just so you know.
So that the traffic between Robbie Gordon and Kevin Hamlin, they still think they can get it done. Now we're seeing Jeff Burton with that damage on the left front fender of his car. What happened there? Marty?
Yeah, they got the damage when they made contact with Michael Waltrip out on the racetrack, and Frank Stoddard's crew chief has tried to convince Jeff that the damage may actually help out. Frank is not serious about that, but he's trying to convince Jeff's psyche that everything's going to be okay with the car. Seems to be fine so far.
Burton started in 25th place, and he runs 6th right now. Todd Bodine and Jeff Green flaring out back in traffic.
Todd Bodine takes that Discover card by Jeff Green.
9th place there, Benny. And here's 1st place.
Yeah, and if Robbie's cruising, he better kick it in gear here, because I think these guys get clear. It's going to be a lot of ground for Robbie to make up.
Do we think that the fuel equation has been eliminated from these front runners?
No. I don't.
It has for some
the
of
12.
them. What about Bill?
Not for the 12. They're still not sure they can make it. Remember, they were telling him to conserve, which he's certainly not doing now.
No. And he can't.
Whoa,
he's
out in
Tony
the grass.
Stewart. Now he's got tires full of junk.
Dirt, grass, whatever you want to call that.
See him wiggling there, trying to get those tires cleaned off.
P.J. Jones trying to get back around Scott Pruitt for 3rd place. We talked at the top of the broadcast, Wally, about the road warriors, as I call them, the road course invaders. Scott Pruitt, you said, had a chance to win this thing. He's running 3rd.
And both these guys, because they've got cars and teams that run every weekend. What do you think, Marty?
Well, we talked about the fuel equation, Wally. It has been eliminated for Scott Pruitt. Andy Graves, the team manager, told him on the radio a few moments ago, fuel is not an issue for us. Run as hard as you want.
There you go. And then Robbie Gordon just made a spot up on Jeff Burton there.
Yeah, that was 6th place he just took. So he better get the whip out, as you said a minute ago there, Wally.
Yeah, because it's going to get tougher to pass these guys. You know, getting around guys closer to the front, it's going to be harder and harder to make those passes.
There you see Mark Martin. He's currently back in the 10th position. We have a chassis brake camera on this car, and we talk about how much brake they use, and the left front goes off the ground down in turn 11. Look how that tire, the sidewall deflects on that car. Now down in turn 1, you'll see some really, that brake rotor over here heat up. Attaboy, Mark. Show them what I'm talking about. Dave, why they send down in his pit, spin less than the guys.
BP, I checked with the car owner, Jack Rouse, just a little earlier, and he said that the car is not the fastest thing on the track today. That's obvious, but they did make an air pressure change where they took air pressure out of all 4 tires to increase grip for Mark, and they said that made a big difference.
That front tire was off the ground through the S's.
Right through here in the inner loop. I don't think the left front hits the ground, but maybe once.
That's good stuff.
Talking about Ryan Newman, the 12 car, taking it easy, trying to save some fuel. He's not taking it easy because when he goes down at turn 1, he smokes that right front tire almost every time, which tells me that he's driving in there, driving the car just as hard as he possibly can.
And he's driving it without any power steering now, Benny.
Oh, no.
It's a former show car, remember? But now no power steering.
Well, then if it has truly no power steering, he's in trouble.
Tony Stewart sliding off that turn 11. Wow.
But you know, Rusty Wallace, they talked about not having any power steering as well.
By the way, speaking of Rusty Wallace, remember he got out of kilter on the fuel strategy? He is pretty well back in traffic. He's 22nd place right now. So unless a lot of these guys start running out of fuel in the final laps, it's just not going to work out for Rusty and his team today. On board with Rusty as he races with Kyle Petty for 21st place. Up through the S's and off onto the backstretch. Or the front stretch, or whatever you want to call it, BP.
That would be, I forget what stretch that is.
There he goes on the inside of Kyle. Up to 3rd gear, back to 2nd gear. There we go, right. There we go, right turn, back on the gas. Oh, that's like he did that power steering.
Tony Stewart inside of Ryan Newman, now outside as they turn the corner.
And takes the lead.
18 to go. Stewart's out in front. Here comes P.J. Jones on Scott Pruitt for third. And now Robbie Gordon starting to join the picture. See, he and Ricky Rudd closing in.
As soon as he saw that 20 car, as soon as Robbie Gordon saw that 20 car go in the front, I think he realized, I got to go. I got to get by these guys because I'm going to have trouble. Oh, Junior's off in the gravel, and he's stuck.
That's turn 1. Caution is out. Full course yellow, number 5. And they're racing back to the flag. Let's see if anything changes places. So far, nobody saw one guy pop out of line there. It looked like Robbie Gordon back at the entrance to the inner loop, but it looks like everybody's settled back here. And Stewart will just bring him back around to the line.
Well, there is a gentleman's agreement not to race back to the line because it is a very dangerous thing, and so far it looks like Robbie really wants by that 28 car so bad.
Gentleman's agreement goes out the window at a track where it's hard to pass and there's 18 laps to go.
Yeah.
And you know the accident's in turn 1 that you already passed. So Dale Jr. off into the gravel trap. Isn't that right about where Dave was sitting during the pre-race?
Yeah, Dave's good thing you moved.
Let's check it out.
Man, oh man, he locked up those rear brakes.
They locked it by themselves.
Really?
Yeah.
And wheel hop.
Yeah, got wheel hop.
That's what we were talking about earlier. When you got too much rear brake, the rear car actually starts bouncing like a pogo stick, and that's exactly where you wind up.
And if that thing had slipped backwards another 4 or 5 feet on him, he'd have had the back tires out of the gravel trap and might have been able to get out of there without losing a lap. Dale Jr. in trouble here at Watkins Glen. Full course yellow is out. Tony Stewart is the race leader. NASCAR on NBC at Watkins Glen, New York for the Sirius satellite radio at the Glen. Under caution because Dale Jr. got off into the gravel trap inside turn 1. You see Dale's out of the car and he's fine.
But something is broken in the car. Otherwise, he'd have just driven it back on the racetrack.
Right. Yeah, you're right, BP. Something made that thing lock up.
Tony Stewart now back out in front of Ryan Newman. We saw the tail end of the pass that he made for the lead. Here's the whole thing.
Tell you what, this was a good pass. Here you see him coming into turn 10, and he dives down on the inside. That's really a good move.
All right, so far I think that's our nominee for our Autotrader.com move of the race.
So far, got my nomination.
Do I get to vote?
Yeah.
Okay, I vote.
And Bill Weber,
did you vote yay or nay?
Yay.
Okay.
I said it was a good move.
Bill Weber, didn't Junior talk about having a vibration just a couple laps prior to that trouble down at turn 1?
Yeah, over in the inner loop, he came across the radio and said he got pinched in by Boris Said and had to drive over the curb and felt like he did have a vibration, thought it might have been a trailing arm or something like that. It could have been the drive shaft too, BP.
Something definitely broke in the rear of that car.
Because on the replay in slow motion, we actually saw the wheels were locked up.
Yeah, they were not turning at all.
Dale Jr. goes to the garage, joins Elliott Sadler, Joe Varney, Kurt Busch, and Mike Skinner. All of those drivers out of the race with mechanical troubles. Matt Yoakum.
Well, Greg Zipadelli, you had the fuel mileage. Now you've got the track position you wanted. Can he hold them off?
I think so. I mean, we've had a great car all weekend. Tony's been on his game. Home Depot Pontiac is it's out front, clean air. He can see his, hit his marks and not have to worry about somebody else dictating his line. There's some good cars behind us, but tires don't fall out much, and we've had a really good, consistent car, and hopefully with the same car we had yesterday afternoon, I think we'll be in good shape.
Chris Woodward, the engine tuner, walked over to me and said, we're in our window, we can just quit with the cautions, Bill Weber.
With Matt Borland, another outstanding run for this kid. You got anything? Well, now he's going to talk to his driver on the radio. Has he got anything left for the leader?
He might have a little, but he's driving a great race, and hopefully we can just bring home a top 5 today. It'd be great for the Altel Ford. That's our main goal today.
Okay, cracking jokes about losing the power steering. Marty?
Scott Pruitt sits in third. Doug Randolph is crew chief. This is the biggest restart of your racing life. Can Scott pass these guys in front of him?
Well, I sure hope so. We've been fighting track position all day. Bullseye Boy's been right on target on pit road. Scott's driving's been right on target. Ganassi Dodge is a heck of a car. We've been fighting the track position all day. We'll see what he's got for him here. I think we got the better car. It's just getting by him.
All right, let's go over here to Jimmy Spencer. You got any advice for your substitute driver out there?
No, Scott's doing a great job. Pit crew's doing a great job. Team Target, the whole team's really done really well today. And, you know, we have a really good car. I think Ryan's having a little problems right now. And Tony's a darn good road racer, and so is Scott. And we'll see what happens.
Nice of you to be here to support your team. Dave Burns.
And Kevin Hamlin is standing by. Your car owner, Richard Childress, keeps telling Robbie to do what he can do with the restart. Can he do anything, though, with the gearing he's got in the car?
Well, we've elected to use all 4 gears out on the racetrack, so that gives us a little bit higher first gear, and it's harder to get going on the restarts and coming out of the pit box. So, you know, we feel like it's still a good advantage if we can run a straight green flag run without a caution. So hopefully we can finish this thing up without any more cautions.
More laps better for the 31. Matt?
And Dave, down here in the 28 pit, Fatback, you told me you wanted to sweep the road course events this season. Now with this caution, do you have your chance?
Yeah, we got a pretty good car now. Made an adjustment. First pit stop went the wrong way, but it told us what to do the next pit stop. The car's pretty good right now. I just told him it's 15 to go. It's time to get nasty, baby.
28 car restarts in the 5th position, Bill.
And one guy that a lot of people were watching today, Jeff Gordon, his car has been loose throughout the day, especially loose coming off the last turn 11, and heading down the front stretch. It was so loose he had to pit. They talked about it for a long time. They took a rubber out of the left rear, went down on the track bar, gave him 4 tires, but not another battle today for Jeff Gordon.
Gordon, Johnny Benson, Bobby Labonte, Casey Atwood, Jerry Nadeau, and Steve Park were the drivers who pitted under this caution. Mark Martin runs 10th.
No, Robbie's going to have to make this restart count. And what's happening is he's laying back, and then he's trying to anticipate the green to get a good roll in first gear, so he's running good when he grabs second. But
the problem that he has is these guys aren't starting at the same spot every time, so he really doesn't know how much to lay back.
Tony Stewart and Ryan Newman have done a lot of Saturday night short track restarts.
See how much he's laying back right there? He's about 5 car lengths behind Ricky.
And Ricky now, he's trying to lay back with him. Look at him. Robbie now.
See, now he got hammered
but
right
they're already gone. Robbie, they're already gone.
Yeah, green flag.
He lost a lot of ground there.
See, they're not starting in the same spot, so you can't lay back like that.
Yep. That's
Stewart with a good jump on the start, or restart, I should say.
Tell you what, if Scott gets clear of that 12 car, Tony Stewart may have his hands full.
It's good to see Jimmy Spencer down there rooting his guys on.
I was thinking that too.
That's terrific.
I was thinking that. That'll make that trip to Michigan, you know, easier to take on both groups.
Exactly.
They are still a team. Scott Pruitt putting pressure on Ryan Newman for second. Pruitt, you'll remember, 1 season of Winston Cup racing for the Cal Wells PPI team, drove the Tide Ride in 2000. Had a best finish of 10th at the Brickyard 400 that year.
I'll tell you what, P.J. Jones giving that 14 car a ride today.
He's right there.
Mike Wallace going to be in that 14 car next week at Michigan. See that on TNT?
And the big gap back to Robbie Gordon, the 6th place car.
And once again, and Dale Jarrett off the pace on the pit road.
Remember we reported earlier, what was it, he was down 3rd gear, right? So the problems mount there for Dale Jarrett.
He may be down 1, 2, and 4, along with 3 now.
Still the big pressure is on 2nd place. Ryan Newman, Tony Stewart is away from them now by a 2nd and a 10th. And it is transmission failure, according to Bill, on Dale Jarrett's car.
Scott can close up in the corners, but boy, that 12 car just pulls away on the straightaways.
Well, he's got to find a way around pretty quick. Laps are running out. He's not only got to get around Newman, talking about Scott Pruitt, but then he's got to run down Stewart and have enough laps left to try and do something with him.
Yeah, so he's got to do it. Almost force the issue. But if he can't get close enough, at the end of the straightaway, here's PJ taking a look on Scott. Can't do it.
Steve Park showing smoke in the 1 car. He'll be coming to pit road. Remember, he spent time behind the wall earlier in the race.
They were talking about a gear or a transmission problem earlier. Looked like an engine problem that time.
So the 2000 winner has problems and will not have a very good day here at the Glen. For his second road course race, Ryan Newman's doing a great job.
Doing a fantastic job.
As part of that ABC program, his year of training with Penske, when they did the ARCA, Busch, and Cup Series races.
Here we go!
There were no road courses as a part of that.
Oh! Looked like Pruitt had a run. Looked like P.J. Jones was going to try to get on the inside of Pruitt.
And Stewart's looking in the mirror smiling. Because if he's holding all these guys up, even when they get clear, they got a lot of ground to make up.
Once again, Jones looking.
And every time that Ryan Newman goes down at turn 1, he smokes that right front tire just a little bit. Here's Robbie Gordon. He's closed up on this group of cars.
Trouble, Ricky Craven.
Well, there goes Tony's lead.
Caution is out.
Now it's going to get interesting.
That's down inside turn number 1.
You're going to see a restart now.
Yeah. Here comes the field racing back around to the start-finish line. Remember, the accident scene is on the other side of the stripe. So let's see if anybody makes a move here. Everybody's looking, but nobody's passing. Ooh, Robbie Gordon, contact there with Ricky Rudd a little bit.
Well, I could have sworn I seen Ricky.
Whoa!
I could have sworn I seen Ricky point out the window there. He doesn't look like he's real thrilled.
What was that gentleman's agreement thing you guys were saying before?
Well, it kind of went out the window. As you said, there's 11 laps to go and went out the window.
Robbie Gordon gets 5th from Ricky Rudd, coming back to the yellow.
I couldn't tell if Ricky pointed out the window or what he was doing, but when they came out of the carousel, something came out the window. It may not have been pointing.
He didn't look very happy when he tried to come back at Robbie there. Or it looked like he tried to.
Well, there again, what Robbie did was well within the rules, except they're supposed to say, okay, let's don't do that.
Anything goes when finishing positions are on the line late in the race. Under caution, 11 to go at the Glen. Got a little tension building here in the late laps at Watkins Glen as Subway presents NASCAR Winston Cup Racing on NBC. Under caution, field coming to 10 to go. Tony Stewart's the leader. The yellow flag coming out when Ricky Craven got spilled off into the gravel trap down in turn 1.
Looks like there might have been a little contact between Ricky Craven and Kyle Petty. I would say a little contact, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it was a little bit. But Kyle was hard on the brakes there. He was trying to give Ricky the line, but I think Ricky still came over on him. But you can see, and here's between Robbie Gordon and Ricky Rudd. Watch right here. Getting into turn 10, he got in the back of Ricky Rudd, and that's what caused all that craziness there, coming back to the yellow.
Yeah, that's racing back to the yellow flag.
Which, like Benny says, there's a gentleman's agreement and there's no rule, but I know Ricky Rudd is probably not too impressed with that. How about it, Bill? What do you think?
I think he's probably not very happy, and you know, for Ricky right now, this is a very difficult time, getting ready to leave Robert Yates Racing, pursue some other interests in the future, and even he admitted that this situation can take its toll on the driver and the team.
To say it is not a distraction would not be a true statement. If you look at our team performance the last 4 weeks, it has not been anything to write home about. You go back prior to that, and we're knocking on the door at any race, could have won any one of them. One thing that's sort of amazing is we're still in contention for the points championship. We're 8th, but we're only 230 out of the lead. So, you know, I certainly hope it doesn't go to a lame duck situation. I can tell you from my side it won't happen. I can't guarantee you what happens from Robert Yates' side.
Crew Chief Michael McSwain said Friday afternoon his team and his driver needed the pole that they won here on Friday for inspiration. Matt?
Bill, Ricky Rudd weaving back and forth, cleaning his tires. He came on the radio, and the only thing he really said was, I have that individual's number on the restart. His crew chief, Fatback McSwain, keeps pumping him up, telling him he can do it. He will restart from the 6th position.
They are coming to the green. We'll be back in time for the restart in a moment. There'll be 9 laps to go, and this gets back underway. Coming to the restart with 9 laps to go at Watkins Glen.
All right, as they come off the turn 11, there's an orange cone on the outside pit wall. That's where the car's right there, that cone. That's supposed to be the restart point. Let's see if they're accelerating when they get there, or they go by, or... Oh, yeah, they're on it.
That's close enough to it. I think that's fine. The last restart, I think they started a little earlier up.
When Ricky Rudd got that spot back from Robbie, well, maybe I'm talking a little bit prematurely there. He was beside him.
Here comes Jeff Burton.
And Michael Walton. The 99 and 15 cars made some contact. That's where the damage came from on the 99. Also some damage on the left front fender of the 15 car. So I think it's also hurt Michael Walton's car. He was running better than this earlier.
And Todd Bodine in the Discover Card machine having a great day. His home track, Watkins Glen. Todd from Chemung, New York. He's looking on Michael Waltrip.
Got it.
8th place. Great job for Todd and that team today.
All right, these guys are running out of time.
Let's just mention a couple of other things. You got Mark Martin back in 10th place, just outside the top 10. John Andretti with a decent day in 11th. Jeff Green, so far the fuel has held up. He's running in 12th. And Boris said, one of the road course invaders, up to 13th. But the pressure on the front is on Ryan Newman, as it has been for this last little while. He's in 2nd place, and it kind of appears like he's got some of these guys behind him bottled up a little bit.
I think that Scott Pruitt is a little faster than he is right now, but he's not fast enough just to pull out and pass him.
I think Scott gains a little bit of ground on him, like I said, in the corners and under braking a little bit, but when they get right here, that 12 car pulls out a car length or 2. So you'll see him close right up on his tail right here. And it looks like he gets right on the bumper going through the carousel, but by the time they get to turn 10, the 12 car's got a few car lengths on him. And that's just handling in the straightaway.
Yes, it is. All right, here comes Pruitt. He's got it on. He's in the draft. He's going to try to outbrake him in 10, like Tony Stewart did. Yeah, can't make it.
Might try it. Might try it here. Get on the inside. Yep.
Turn 11.
Oh, little contact.
And here comes PJ down the inside. This can be a little crowded down there.
2nd place. Ryan lights him up, but he hangs on to it. Here comes Robbie Gordon.
And he gets by both of them, Scott Pruitt and P.J. Jones. And Ricky Rudd gets by Scott Pruitt. Boy, I tell you, Scott Pruitt came off turn 11, got that car on the bottom of the racetrack and got it choked down and just could not accelerate down this pit straight.
So now Robbie Gordon gets to try and put some pressure on Ryan Newman and see if he can get 2nd spot. Problem is, Tony Stewart is about 2 seconds off in the clear, and there's only going to be 6 laps to go when they come back. There's the gap. I am very impressed at the job Ryan Newman has done with so little experience on a road course. This is something that takes some time to get the feel for, but he has really picked up on it quick. He finished 9th at Sears Point.
Yeah, he's running great.
And the amazing thing is they chose not to shift at Pocono because they felt like he could get around the racetrack faster by not shifting.
Yep. And they were right.
And they were probably right.
while Tony Stewart's lead is stable, let's do a little quick run through the field, Matt.
And Tony Stewart is happy to see everybody juggling for position behind him. The big thing about today, he was hoping for consistency and good luck for a change. Second at Sears Point, 39th at Daytona, third at Chicago, and he's starting to reel it back in, a 7th and a 12th. Hopefully he can pick up his second road course victory today, Bill.
Ryan Newman is looking for his 5th straight top 5 finish. One word to describe his run today: amazing. That's from his crew chief, Matt Borland. Dave?
During that last caution, Robbie Gordon radioed in, "I know the 28 is not happy with me, but I am tired of losing these road course races when I know we're the best car." That's his motivation. Bill?
PJ Jones was on the lake yesterday, but it's been smooth sailing today, running in the 4th spot. Said if he gets a top 10, could get an oval ride from AJ later this year. So far, so good, Matt.
Bill, Ricky Rudd, another driver just looking to score a top 10 finish. He didn't have the day that he would have liked with that fast race car from the pole, but he has some consistency today, Marty, currently in the 5th position.
Earlier, Matt, Scott Pruitt went for it. He was in the 3rd position trying to go for 2nd. He's fallen all the way back to 6th now. I talked to the regular driver of this car, Jimmy Spencer, a moment ago. He has yet to talk to Chip Ganassi this week, but there are no hard feelings. We're still one big team. Remember, I drive a car with a bullseye. That's what Spencer said. Jeff Burton behind him. The fender damage has clearly hurt his run. He is up in the 7th position, but this will be a top 10, and they have not had one of those in the last 7 races, Dave.
Todd Bodine has been all quiet on the radio, Marty. Maybe that's because he has a car he really likes. This same car finished here last year at Watkins Glen in the 5th position. Matt?
Last year here at Watkins Glen, Michael Waltrip ran out of gas while running fit. Today, trying to bring it home with a top 10 finish. He tested here. That test is paying off currently in the 9th position, Dave.
Check with Mark Martin's pit. They are still not happy with their race car, though Mark does still hold the best average finish of all active drivers here, just a tick under 6th. Marty?
This is a good run for John Andretti. They're up in the 11th position. They have only had one top 10 this year at the other road course at Sonoma, and since then, their best finish, 22nd at Chicago, Matt.
Marty, Jeff Green finished 5th back at Sonoma in June, hoping to pull off the same feat here at the Glen. The fuel mileage game didn't play to his team, currently running in the 12th position. Looks like that first win won't come today, Marty.
For Boris said in 13th, he said a top 10 would be like a win, so since he's in 13th, I guess it's sort of like a top 5. They're running pretty good, and he's very happy with the car, Matt.
Marty, what a day for the 29 team of Kevin Harvick. Remember, first they battled back from that flat left rear tire. Currently, right now, he's running in the 14th position. He's had a good run here at the Glen, and that run continues historically here for the 29, Bill.
Car owner Ray Evernham, crash on the track.
Wow, big time crash.
Kenny Wallace. Now they'll come back to the caution with 3 laps to go. This is probably going to be the race to the finish here. Remember, 4 laps or more is kind of the rough spot for NASCAR in using that red flag. We'll see what happens here at Watkins Glen. But Tony Stewart is coming back around to the caution. This could be the end of the race. Robbie Gordon trying Ryan Newman for 2nd.
And we see Ryan Newman is going to win that battle back. I'm told that the brake pedal broke on Kenny Wallace's car.
Man, that was that in turn 1?
And you see those great big foam blocks in front of the walls. Wow. Yes, that is in turn 1.
Look at the Zippo sign.
Yes.
Zippo's a brand of lighters.
Thank you, Alan.
Well, not everybody might know that. That's my job.
All right, there he is down at turn 1.
Across that gravel trap and into the styrofoam barriers.
I wonder if that was his rotor coming apart. That started the fire.
Ever see Kenny Wallace walking around?
Oh, off the ground.
No brakes at all coming in there.
Man, oh man.
Still nicer to hit in those foam than walls.
And we saw Terry Labonte with the left front of his car torn up.
Yep. Coming out of the carousel.
How's the left front tire flat, and
he decided he didn't want those cones there anymore.
And that flat tire is coming apart, just tearing the fender off the car.
Kenny's okay, that's great. sailed right over that gravel track.
Yeah.
He must have been flying coming in there. I mean, no brakes at all.
Jimmy Johnson did that in a NASCAR Busch Series race here a few years ago with the front end. Nailed it.
Kenny going to jog across the track back to the pit area that's just opposite where he is. And again, softer barriers, BP. We've talked about it last week and again this week, but so great to see the initiative here at these racetracks.
It really is, and we can obviously see how much difference it makes.
Because if he'd have hit that guardrail straight on without that barrier there, boy, that would have been ugly. So Kenny Wallace is okay.
Red flag.
And they've stopped the race. There you go. Red flag is out with less than 3 laps to go. Now, you know, NASCAR does not have that hard and fast rule about when they will and when they won't use the red flag. It's something we'd kind of all like to see, so we have an idea what to expect. But here at Watkins Glen, the pace laps are so long, it's not like, well, Steve Park's done for the day.
And there the golden Benny goes.
But let's talk about...
What a nice ride he's getting. Okay.
There you go. Let's talk about the use of the red flag here. With the different sizes of racetracks and the different things, some people are going to say, well, why didn't they stop Daytona when there were 3 laps to go?
Well, I think again, I will not put words in their mouth. Here, they give 1 to go back at the inner loop, correct?
Yes.
So they stop the car before the inner loop. When they get there, they'll say 1 to go. They come by, they've got 2 laps to go of green flag racing.
There's also a big difference between a 1 lap, even if they get the green at the white flag, there's a big difference in a 1 lap race here than at an oval track like Daytona, too.
I don't know. There's going to be a lot of cars stacking up, I
don't think so.
Turn 1.
Well, the restrictor plates at Daytona is what I was thinking about. Something going on with Tony Stewart's car, Matt?
Well, let's ask Greg Zipadelli, the crew chief. I heard Tony say on the radio that deal is starting to happen again and it's getting worse. What's wrong with the car?
Last week we had a little vapor lock issue on some restarts, and seemed like it did it that last time. Cooling down here, hopefully it's not a big deal, just an up that gives a little bit of a hiccup there. So where we're restarting is the place I'd like to be with that problem there. So hopefully it won't act up, get any worse, and this Home Depot Pontiac will find its way to victory lane here shortly.
And you also told him to position the car in a certain way in case it won't fire?
Yeah, you know, they get so hot sometimes the starters, by now don't want to work with all that brake heat and everything underneath there. So that way, in case he had to roll down the hill and pop started, he'd be all right. So I don't know. We'll keep our fingers crossed there. This is a pretty cool place to be here. We run here with a bunch with a Busch North car and come close to winning, and sure mean a lot to me and these guys here after the hard week we've had to bring home to victory lane.
A lot of guys from the Northeast on this race team, Marty, and they'd certainly love to get a win here at Watkins Glen.
Well, Matt, a wild ride for Kenny Wallace. You're okay, it looks like. You look like a little shaken, but what happened?
Yeah, hey, I'm a racer. I ain't going to make no excuses. We had some brake problems early in the race, and we pitted, and we put new brake pads in because the wore brake pads out. And if you watch the replay, the right front rotor blew all apart. Hell, it's got the grass on fire all the way down in front straightaway, but I hate it for the Stacker 2 Chevrolet. I mean, it was not a good day by far, but I want to thank the racetrack here at Watkins Glen. Now that's a softball.
Yeah.
I knew I was dead in the water, and I spun it out on purpose. And thank God, I didn't even feel it hardly. I knew it was spectacular, but that's what these racetracks can do for us. So I want to thank Watkins Glen, and that was pretty cool.
What do you do as a driver knowing you're going to hit very, very hard? Do you just clinch up, or what do you do?
I'll tell you exactly what I did. I said, S-H-I-T, and I thought, okay, what am I going to do? And I thought, spin it out. So I turned it right and threw it up into, I guess, whatever gear I was going to. And, when you're running down the straightaway that fast and you go to put the brakes on and the rotor broke, it was just a part failure, nothing on my guys. And I'm just lucky that I got it spun out before I got into turn 1. So, I'm a competitor. I hated running that bad all day, but we just couldn't get the job done. So here we are.
We're glad to see that you're okay, though. Good to see that Kenny Wallace is fine, and an amazing ride he just had.
So under the red flag here as they continue to clean up down the front stretch. Pontiac leading here with Tony Stewart, and as you probably know, the movie Triple X opened this weekend. Van Diesel in the movie plays a new breed of all-American hero who drives a 1967 Pontiac GTO. Pontiac's offering NASCAR fans a chance to design the pace car for the 2003 Daytona 500. The winner gets to ride in a special parade lap driven by Vin Diesel. Log on to Pontiac.com/GTO for more information. We saw Vin at the Brickyard 400 last weekend. And get that new GTO coming out next year, huh?
Yeah.
Sharp looking car. All right, coming up next on NBC. Thanks, Chris. We'll get to the beach out in California right after they finish cleaning up the beach inside Turn 1 here at Watkins Glen, where Kenny Wallace had that hard crash a minute ago.
You know, Zippy was talking about the car's vapor lock and some of the problems too. When these cars sit there and they're hot, it gets the fuel hot in the carburetors, and that's another problem on the restarts. That hot fuel doesn't want to burn real good.
Ooh.
What's that? What's that from? The 55? Is that gasoline?
Gasoline coming out the, there's the fuel tank filler right there. So apparently that's a spring lock mechanism. The coupling must not be quite closed all the way. Bobby Hamilton's car. Where's he? He's out in 19th. BP has left, where is he? Oh, he's out at the Roush Racing Team Caliber 360 car. What do you got for us, Benny?
Hey, you guys, Tony Stewart was talking about vapor lock. Let me show you what they're talking about. Here's the fuel pump. Under here, notice the exhaust pipes. These are about 1,200 degrees. The fuel comes off the fuel pump up to the carburetor right next to this 1,200 degrees. As long as air is going through the radiator by that and blowing the heat back, that's okay. When these cars stop, all that heat encompasses around the fuel pump and gets the fuel so hot that it really and truly boils, and you get air going to the carburetor. That's what they call vapor lock, when you have air trying to go through the carburetor.
There you go. Well, we got Benny in the pits. Hey, check that out, BP. Got Benny in the Glen, too. Great race fans around here in New York State. And they have been having a weekend-long party here. Somebody raced BP at the Richard Petty Driving School. Been a great weekend here at the Glen. The weather's been perfect. These people have been packed in here all weekend long, and they have been having a fabulous time. And they're about to see about a 2-lap sprint to the finish here at the Glen. Tonight at 7 Eastern and Pacific, it's the conclusion to the Women's U.S. Gymnastics Championships, who will claim the coveted national championship crown and grab the spotlight as America's top gymnast. It's the exciting conclusion of the Women's U.S. Gymnastics Championships tonight in prime time, 7 Eastern and Pacific on NBC. You ever been on the parallel bars, BP?
Do I look like I've been on the parallel bars? The answer would be no.
That would kind of be why I asked.
Now, he was a ring man. He liked the rings.
Yeah. What a week it's been for Tony Stewart. The aftermath of what happened at Indianapolis last week, hanging over his team all this week. Tony, in a meeting with the press here earlier this weekend, said he feared he might lose his job with Joe Gibbs and the Home Depot team.
You know, he's kind of driving like today, like he was afraid he was going to lose his job. I talked to Greg Zipadelli, and I said, you're going to have the best driving job this week you've ever had in your life, because Tony Stewart is trying his best to make it up to you and to everyone else, because you know he knows he made a mistake, and he's trying his best to make it up to these guys, especially in Joe Gibbs.
And I think the attitude a lot of people are taking about this with Tony is, let's see if it changes this time.
Where are these guys parked? I wonder if the fuel is running away from, if they'll be able to restart.
Looks like they're pointed downhill.
They're right at the exit of the S's and the entrance.
Okay, well, that is a little bit of a hill there.
That's the water overflow in the 55 car.
I think that water.
Well, we thought it was gasoline, Benny.
I'm assuming it's overflowing the water. I heard you talking about that, and I'm assuming that's where the water overflow is coming from.
I guess if the water flow is in the back and not the front windshield, then it could be.
But some of these guys, the fuel pickup is in the back of the fuel tank, just for acceleration. And if it's going downhill, I don't know. Maybe there's enough in the carburetor that they'll be able to pick up. Weber, what's Mike Hillman having to say down there?
Well, he's smiling, although he's not right now. You've had a great run. First question I have to ask you, do you have enough fuel in that thing to get to the finish here, Mike?
Yeah, you know, Bill, there's a lot of us in the same position, so we should have, you know. It all figures out that we do, but I don't think any of us know for sure, you know. hopefully PJ has done one tremendous job all day long, and we can go ahead and get us a top 5 with a Conseco Pontiac, and make everybody proud. But it's close.
He told me you made him a promise if he gets a top 10 finish here, Mike.
Yeah, I think AJ and I talked about it. We get a good top 10 finish, and he's done a tremendous job all day. That we'd like to run him in another race somewhere. Maybe with our second number, and I think that'll happen. I mean, he's got a tremendous amount of talent, and I don't think it's just on a road course. I think it just needs to be developed, and hopefully we can do something and make him look good.
Good luck.
Thank you, Bill.
Don't forget P.J. Jones at Indianapolis earlier this year, injured severely in a crash there in practice, has recovered from that slowly, and now doing a great job here at the Glen. Matt?
Bill, Ricky Rudd looking for his 7th career road course win, sits back in 5th. And Fatback, you had a long discussion with Ricky about how this restart could play out. What did you tell him?
Well, I just told him it's going to be pretty ugly down here. It's going to be about like when they let out for lunch when you're in school.
Especially
everybody's
me and
going to
you.
be trying to pass down here because you can do a lot of passing down here. Poor old Robbie Gordon, he can't pass nobody except for when a caution comes out. So I know he'll be doing it too. So it's going to get ugly down here. I know Zippy's happy to be leading, but I ain't sure I wouldn't rather be in second right now.
Benny?
Tell Fatback that's when they let out for lunch for me and him.
That's another thing too. Here you are, nose to tail, with a lap or 2 to go. If the guy in front of you runs out of gas, you're out of luck.
Oh yeah.
You're going to be underneath them, literally.
Going to be a big wreck. Big wreck.
Kind of pushed the fuel story aside a little bit because we figured with all the caution laps everybody could make it, but obviously it's still on people's minds down there.
Well, I mean, the 12 car they said was 12 laps short. When Bill Weber reported when they stopped, they felt like they were going to be 3 laps short. Now, have they made up 3 laps with all the caution laps they've run? I don't know. They don't know either.
No. Bobby Hamilton talking back and forth with his crew under this red flag. He was just behind Kenny Wallace when that accident happened.
Tell you what, Kenny Wallace ought to send that guy who invented the foam an attaboy letter. I can't begin to tell you how hard he hit that thing just now.
That's Eddie DeHaan, one of the spotters.
I agree with Eddie.
Joe Gibbs' car is in the lead. Couple of laps to go, Marty.
Well, Joe, it's been a rough week for you guys. I'm sure that a win would heal a lot of wounds today, wouldn't it?
Well, a win certainly would be great, and I know it's been a long, hard week for everybody, and had Home Depot up front, but anything can happen right here. We're all praying right here. I am.
And I know for you, you've been through a lot of things in your coaching career and in your sporting life. Where does this week rank up there with as far as difficulty?
Well, I think it's been difficult. I guess that's why we get in things like Winston Cup racing, and because it's extremely hard. There's a lot of the best in the world are trying to do this. And then with the emotions and everything that can happen, you got a lot of things can happen here. You got people involved, you got money involved, you got competition, and so I guess you could say that's what makes it exciting. But yet, I guess that's why we love it. So we certainly love this, and I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to be praying hard here.
There's really no other way to say this. Sometimes discipline can make you motivated. Is that what Tony's doing today? You think he's really showing how good of a driver he can be?
Well, I think Tony, every time he gets in the car, the thing we love about him, I've never seen him get in there when he wants to win every race. And we got 2 great drivers like that. And I think Tony certainly gives it everything he's got every time. I'm sure this week probably was something a little special today, certainly with everything that happened this week.
All right, Tony Stewart up front in his Pontiac. Pontiac has not won here, Alan, since 1992.
Yeah, Kyle Petty won that day. Field is rolling, as you can see. Here's what's going to happen. They're going to come by the opening to pit road. They'll open pit road if anybody wants to pit and give the 1-to-go signal. So there'll be a 1-lap shootout to the finish of this race. They will take the green and white flags at the same time.
So it's going to be all about the restart.
All about the restart. Boy.
Turn 1 could get ugly.
Dave, 31 is not faring too good on this restart situation.
Well, we're going to find out. First of all, you're okay on fuel, aren't you?
Well, yeah, we're good on gas.
All right. Now, Richard Childress was talking to NASCAR a little bit about where these restarts are happening. Are you happy that they've got everyone convinced about where to start this race when it starts again?
Yeah, you know, it's just a matter of when you're in the front, you want to get the best jump you can on everybody else. So, you know, we can't blame Tony for that. And as long as we know what's going to happen, we'll be good with it.
And you're probably just happy that your car started, right?
Yeah, we're real good about that. Singular wire's been running good all day, and hopefully these closing laps are going to be a good thing for us here.
All right, well, they're always fun to watch. We're standing by.
Well, what? It's going to be fun to watch. That's for sure.
And what they're talking about was, I think Richard Childress has complained to NASCAR that these leaders have been jumping the restart. I showed you that orange cone just a moment ago. That's where they're supposed to hit the accelerator. I think he's saying that they're hitting the accelerator just in there someplace before they get to the cone.
But you know what, BP? Really, the way they restarted the last time is helping Robbie Gordon because it's a rolling fast start. If Tony brings him down really slow to that cone and takes off, that's going to kill Robbie Gordon because of the first gear he's got.
I agree.
There are 31 cars on the lead lap. Inside of 10 laps to go, the restart, just the lead lap cars, single file at the front of the pack. Well, okay, that's 31 long. At the end of that line is Sterling Marlin, the championship leader. 31st position right now. His point rivals Mark Martin and Jimmy Johnson are running in 10th and 16th. We'll have a one-lap shootout to the finish of this race. Stewart's got to hold off Ryan Newman, Robbie Gordon, P.J. Jones, Ricky Rudd, and Scott Pruitt. Those are the top 6.
3 abreast or 4 abreast going into one.
Oh, at least 4.
And who hits who first,
yeah.
Right? Because somebody's going to be trying to break late in there.
The 44 car, Jerry Nadeau, is going to make a pit stop and change 4 tires. He was the last car.
He had a flat left rear, Benny.
Ah, you did?
Yeah. He might have run over a piece of that brake rotor from Kenny Wallace's crash. So he didn't have much choice.
No, he didn't. I thought maybe just trying to make a decision to get some fresh tires, try to pass 3 or 4 cars, but.
Green there, just get caught up, get behind the 40 car there. Should be able to get behind the 40 car.
Instructions to Jerry Nadeau. All right, Wally, put me inside, first of all, the leader's car for this restart.
Well, I'm going to cheat this restart as much as I can. I don't care what anybody says because I'm going to try to get the jump. That's my only shot.
So you're going to try to bring him down slow and wait for the cone? You're going to try to jump early?
I'm going to bring him down slow, but then I'm going to jump early.
Okay.
And what about Ryan Newman's perspective? He's seen Stewart do this already once before.
Well, I think what Tony's got to his advantage is Ryan Newman's going to be worried about what's in his mirror because you know Robbie's is going to be coming. So hopefully he'll be preoccupied. But the guy that's taking the restarts, Tony Stewart, the guy that's in the lead, he's holding all the cards right now. And if he can get down to turn 1 and get on the inside so nobody can outbrake him, it's going to be pretty hard to pass him on that lap.
Be curious to see how many positions change hands on the final lap.
And you got PJ, and PJ's been running really hard down into 1 all day, braking real late. So he's going to be a factor, and he's in the 14 car right there.
He looks like he really truly has had the best entry into 1 about any of these cars. I'm talking about the 14 of PJ Jones.
You got Tony Stewart, who has been to victory lane a couple of times already this season, leading. Ryan Newman, best finish is 2nd. He did that at Richmond. He's come close. He won the All-Star race at Charlotte. We shouldn't discredit that from him. And right now, as I monitor NASCAR Race Control's channel, race director David Hoots is reminding all of those cars behind the leader to stay closed up on the car in front of them. He doesn't want anybody laying back to try and get that run and start.
Mainly you, Robbie Gordon.
The message was passed to Scott Pruitt as well as to P.J. Jones. There's Todd Bodine in 8th. Good day for him. Bad day for Jeff Gordon. He's back in 22nd.
And really, they got basically 2 shots. One is getting into 1, and one's getting in the inner loop.
And that's it.
That's it.
Still talking to the cars to stay closed up on the one in front of them, and you could see the slow pace from Tony Stewart. The pace car's gotten away.
Coming to you, Matt.
Like I said, I'd bring him down slow, just like Tony's doing it. And
here they come.
Righty. Not quite at the cone.
This is it, the restart. And the white flag. 1 lap to go at Watkins Glen. Can any of these people behind Tony Stewart take the win away?
There he goes.
Oh, that was pretty early.
Whoa.
Green.
That was pretty early.
Final lap at Watkins Glen. P.J. Jones not able to get a run on Robbie Gordon. Looked like he had a brief look on him. Have not heard a penalty call on Tony Stewart, so the restart stands, and now he's half a lap away from the checkered flag.
One more time.
Oh no. One off in the dust in turn one.
He drove out of it though.
That was Ricky Craven. What a week it's been for Tony Stewart. Spent much of this week in turmoil. After the incident after Indianapolis last Sunday, thought he might lose his job in this car. The fine from NASCAR, the fine from his sponsor. He has agreed to undergo anger management counseling, trying to overcome the temper problems that have dogged him throughout his career. Today, he's funneled that anger into a powerful drive. As he comes to the final corner, Tony Stewart is going to win at Watkins Glen, his third win of the season and his first win at this historic road course. Stewart's your victor.
Nobody run out of gas.
Ryan Newman with a great drive for second. Robbie Gordon, P.J. Jones, Ricky Rudd fill out the top five.
And Jeff Green made it 40 laps on fuel.
So enough caution laps that the gas wasn't a factor. And for Tony Stewart.
Oh, hi there, guys.
Little victory donut there. Matt, it's been a pretty interesting week for the 20 team.
And Tony Stewart just thanked you and the guys for sticking with him and hanging with him. This has been a character-building week for you and the entire team.
Well, we've had a few experiences, but there's one thing we can do is when it comes time to lean in on each other, everybody usually pulls through. We got a strong group of people here, and I just want to thank everybody for helping in the last week, and Tony for doing a great job.
What's it mean to win here at the Glen?
That's pretty cool. Anywhere you can win a Winston Cup racing, but a place like this, we've run well here. Had a couple opportunities, like I said earlier, in the Bush North car. Just one of those kind of different places. You only get to come once a year. You need everything. You need a good car, great, from brakes to chassis to, and you need an awesome driver, and we got all of it today.
Last four road course starts, a finish of first, 26, second, and today first.
He's a road warrior. Tony Stewart, second road course win in his last four tries.
I'll tell you, for a restart, that's what he had to do to win this race, and he got away with it, and I congratulate him. I don't think everybody else could be real happy with that, but he did get a great start.
Final results today here at Watkins Glen.
P.J. Jones, a terrific run. Scott Pruitt brings that 41 car home sixth. Todd Bodine, terrific run, and Mark Martin getting closer and closer in those points, 10th place.
Jimmy Johnson, second in points coming in, finished 16th today. All these cars on the lead lap.
See, Rusty Wallace fought his way back to 17th after that pit stop.
Yeah, strategy did not work out for them today, did it?
All these cars on the lead lap. And Sterling Marlin finishes 30th.
Last one on the lead lap was Terry Labonte. And you see at the bottom there, the cars who had problems and failed to finish, including Dale Jarrett. And Elliott Sadler will get scratched today. He went out of this race pretty early on with a clutch failure. Championship standings after Watkins Glen. It was 93 between first and second coming in. It's a lot tighter now.
Look at that, top 10, 280 points. Just 280 points, and just 56 between third and first. Marty.
For Robbie Gordon, let's first of all ask you, did Tony jump that? He's going to climb out of the car. Did Tony jump that last restart, you think?
Did he jump the last restart? No, he brake tacked us, and he took off over way before the go mark. So, that was disappointing because I thought we would have had a shot at him, and we weren't supposed to take off until that cone over here under the bridge. He took off way before turn 10, so I'm disappointed about it, but, everybody on the singular team did a good job. Tony did a hell of a race. He drove a hell of a race. One of the days we're going to pull this thing back into victory lane.
All right, and NASCAR did warn all these teams, don't jump the restart and don't lay back.
Tony Stewart has gone to victory lane today. The Pontiac wide track team congratulating Tony Stewart in the number 20 Pontiac Grand Prix on his victory today. Pass it on. Pontiac's in victory lane. All right, Stewart is ready for his interview, I think. Bill, how about it?
Well, Tony Stewart has made it here to victory lane, unbuckling now, getting ready to climb out of the Home Depot Pontiac. Has to get off some of that safety equipment and gets a congratulations from his crew chief, Greg Zipadelli. And here he comes out of the car. And this will be a big moment for Tony and the entire team. Tony, congratulations. I know it's been a difficult week for you. You thanked the crew after you took the checkered flag. Tell me about the final restart.
Well, the way this track's laid down, I mean, where they want us, the restart's not in the favor of the of the lead driver, that's for sure. So, you know, we had to do what we had to do to protect our position, that's for sure, and we just caught them sleeping a little bit. So we did our job. We did what we had to do.
What was your mindset going in here, Tony, when the race started after the week you've been through?
The one thing I was looking forward to is the race. You know, this race is for Mr. Mook. He's going to help be an integral part of changing my life. So this was step one in it, and just really thankful for him.
You thanked your crew for sticking with you and standing by you. Were you afraid there was a time maybe this week when that wasn't going to happen?
Yeah, it's been a long week. It's hot, but you know, when you destroy your race team and you hurt your sponsor as bad as I have, you know, you can't blame them for looking somewhere else and thinking about switching drivers. But you know, Bob Nardelli, the CEO of Home Depot, is probably one of our biggest fans and one of my best friends. And you know, all the people at Home Depot and Joe Gibbs Racing, I mean, they just don't give up, and that shows their attitude. They just never give up. So I'm not going to give up on them.
All these wins are so tough to get, Tony, and they all mean so much. Can you tell me what this one will mean to you when you sit back and look at it?
Hopefully it's a moment that changes my life, so we'll just see.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Little worn out, but a victor.